Rudabega's, they're serving all your crave-worthy classics. Mac and cheese, loaded nachos, Philly cheesesteaks, all 100% plant-powered and 100% delicious. Catch them at their cozy spot at 70th and Vine, or find their food truck rolling through the streets of Lincoln. So whether you're vegan, veg curious, or just hungry for comfort food with a twist, Rudabega's has a plate waiting for you. Find them on Instagram for their food truck location and specials. Rudabega's, where comfort meets compassion.
Are you looking to upgrade or improve the garage door on your home? This is Cameron Hall of Doors Plus. At Doors Plus, we guarantee to offer a wide selection of options from 5 leading garage door manufacturers as we deliver a free estimate, exact measurements, and rapid installation with a 3 to 5 week time frame. When you choose Doors Plus for your residential garage door needs, you'll work with our experienced technicians and be ensured that your new door seamlessly complements your home. Give us a call at 402-590-5800 or visit us online at DoorsPlusLLC.com. Doors Plus, garage doors and more.
Tune in every Sunday from 3 to 5 p.m. for The Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters. Sit back and enjoy listening to Dr. Chatters discuss real stories involving struggle, inspiration, and real-life experiences with special guests and insights. Remember, the higher the pressure, the greater the lift. The Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters. Every Sunday from 3 to 5 p.m. right here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Ready to upgrade your harvest lineup? Right now at Landmark Implement, get up to a 36-month waiver on select John Deere combines. That's 3 full years with no interest, giving you the flexibility to put the reliability of John Deere to work on your farm. Our team is here to keep your operation running strong with the latest technology, unmatched parts and service support, and the reliability of John Deere equipment. Visit your local Landmark Implement today or check us out at landmarkimp.com and experience the Landmark difference.
This is your invite to Lincoln's Oktoberfest. On Saturday, September 27th, come to Beer House at 8th and P in the Haymarket from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. for a full day of German fun. Live bands, mouth-watering food, cold brews, and games for every age. Try your hand at Steinholding, Cornhole, or bring friends for Hammerschlagen. Admission is just $9 in advance, and VIP gives you tokens, a Stein, rooftop access, and more. Lincoln's Oktoberfest, where the beer is flowing, the food is sizzling, and the spirit is Bavarian strong. Be there.
Ready to upgrade your harvest lineup? Right now at Landmark Implement, get up to a 36-month waiver on select John Deere combines. That's 3 full years with no interest, giving you the flexibility to put the reliability of John Deere to work on your farm. Our team is here to keep your operation running strong with the latest technology, unmatched parts and service support, and the reliability of John Deere equipment. Visit your local Landmark Implement today or check us out at landmarkimp.com and experience the Landmark difference.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC. This month kicks off Koppel's 50th anniversary sale. We're celebrating 50 years by offering an additional $500 discount to the next 100 customers that buy a new vehicle. This is in addition to the huge savings already in place. You can take an extra $500 off our discounted price, or we can cut you a check on the spot. Celebrate with savings and see why customers have trusted Koppel since 1975. It's our way of saying thank you for all these years.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
After a long, hot summer, are you ready for fall? What about your home? Is your heating system ready for cooler temperatures ahead? Call Bryant for your fall heating check. No matter what brand of equipment you own, Bryant's trained technicians will thoroughly clean and inspect your furnace or heat pump to make sure you stay warm, safe, and comfortable. Call today to schedule your home heating check. 467-1111. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111. Bryant, whatever it takes.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road, just south of 14th and Highway 2.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Old School, sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome to it, Old School on a Wednesday. Glad you're along for the ride for the next few hours or so. Austin Norman with you, Jay Foreman getting his beauty rest or something like that over a bye week. That chuckle you hear belongs to Nick Sainer. Nick, welcome to Old School.
Austin, it's always a pleasure, my friend. I look forward to this every time we get to do a show together, and I always thank you for inviting me on.
Oh, you are always more than welcome. We know you're busy doing all sorts of fun stuff. Well, no.
Jay's anti-Nick. No, I'm just kidding. Jay is hopefully. I can't say he's pro-Nick either, but he's just somewhere neutral in the middle.
Eric is anti-Nick.
Eric is
can't wait to hear from Eric.
Very anti-Nick. I think Eric's at a point though to where he's forced himself into this bit of he's so anti-Nick that now he's becoming pro-Nick. It's part of his life. Just to talk to me.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he looks forward to it every time.
Through the text line.
Yes. Nice little parasocial relationship. We love him.
Exactly.
We have a Cash Blitz keyword for you right now. Top of the 3 o'clock hour every day here for the rest of the week. Your number to text, 508-777-1000. Again, 508-777-1000, or head to theticketfm.com and click on Cash Blitz to enter. Today's keyword, win. Al Davis said it best. Just win, baby. Win. W-I-N. Remember, every keyword that you enter is another chance to win. One lucky listener will take home $1,000 tomorrow around noon. Do not wait. Get keyword win, W-I-N, texted to 508-777-1000 now. All right, on with the rest of the show. The show, of course, being Old School, brought to you by Certified Piedmontese, special ingredient butcher shop with 3 Lincoln locations and 1 in Omaha. Did not get to this yesterday. Was going to save it for Jay to break down, but like I said, these former athletes coming off their big weekend 95 championship reunion, feeling overworked, need their beauty rest, what have you. So Jay will miss out on his chance to talk about Mike Gundy getting the boot from Oklahoma State. A lot went into this, Nick. Obviously, a pretty quick downfall for the Cowpokes, who played for a Big 12 championship and won a Fiesta Bowl in 2021. Played for college football appearance in 2023 after a 10-2 regular season. Lost on the last snap of the game to Baylor, falling just short of a touchdown. And then 3-9 last year, including 0-9 in conference play, and a 1-2 start to this season, including first time losing to Tulsa at home in Stillwater for the first time since like the 1950s. Initial reports out of Stillwater was that Mike Gundy was going to get the chance to coach through the remainder of the 2025 season. He said essentially, nope, if you're going to fire me, just get me out of here. So the end of an era in Stillwater. Gundy had been the head coach beginning with the 2005 season, made 18 consecutive bowl games before last year. The only 2 losing seasons he had in Stilly, his first year and then his last full year. Just, I guess, your initial reaction to how everything went down with Mike Gundy's firing.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are going to sit there and say that he should have been given the rest of the year. I think, though, if you are a big fan of Oklahoma State football, you have to understand you can't bring emotion into these decisions as an athletic director, right? That's when ADs start to have their jobs start to get on the line, is when they start to really, really introduce emotion into their day-to-day business world, right? And what I mean by this is, if Mike Gundy was a Deshaun Foster, nobody really questions, right? Like, obviously you're going to have the small conglomerate of people that say, oh, he should have been given the entire season just to give him a fair shake, right? But ultimately, in this day and age of college football, you need to make decisions swiftly. You need to be certain, right? You don't want to sit here, because what if, I mean, let's just play a hypothetical game here. What if the athletic director, Chad Weiberg for Oklahoma State, woke up Monday or Tuesday yesterday and said, okay, you know what? I want to fire. I think it's time to move on from Mike Gundy, but we're going to do it at the end of the year. And then Mike Gundy wins a game against the top 25 team. And then he strings along another victory. And then he looks bad again. And Oklahoma State finishes 4-8, 5-7, right? Which doesn't seem really like a realistic possibility to this point of the season.
But they're there on the cusp of bowl
eligibility. They're on the cusp. You can talk yourself into it.
Oh, they lost their quarterback to a broken foot.
And then you introduce the conversation and the piece of it to where if you're the athletic director saying, well, it is Mike Gundy. He's one of the stable pieces of Oklahoma State history over the last 20 years for anything, right? Maybe we give him one more year. Maybe we put in stipulations of what he has to do. No, you talk yourself in circles, and then you start to become less confident in your initial gut feeling. You have to just make the decision swiftly. And on top of it all, there's proven track record to where there's been success for other programs when they are early jobs open, right? And everybody knows that they're available. And in this transfer portal era, NIL era, you can start bringing in donations and say, hey, there's going to be rejuvenated excitement and interest from players, from fans into this program. Support now, and let's start a new era.
Exactly. And for Oklahoma State, I think specifically, what a missed opportunity these last couple years to really become a power player in the new look Big 12. And with Gundy, you gave him that opportunity after last year. Restructured the contract and the money, said you got to invest in your staff. We're going to spread some money around. You'll take a little bit of a haircut on your salary. So they tried that. They tried to give him one more chance, and it just didn't work out. On top of some other stuff going on behind the scenes, you mentioned Chad Weiberg. As of yesterday, people were still wondering about his contract status. Under the impression that he was working without one. Turns out he did sign a 3 or 4 year deal relatively quietly that had never been announced or was in the process of getting signed. So there's that. Oklahoma State's president just a couple of years ago resigned before some pretty major financial misconduct findings came out. That is a university in turmoil right now. And sometimes, you look to your football coach, your flagship program, with no disrespect to Oklahoma State baseball, consistent, regional team and regional host. That's not enough for that university to plant its flag on. Not when your biggest rival abandoned you for the SEC in Oklahoma. This is the situation where Oklahoma State needed Mike Gundy and the football program to be good, to pull some eyeballs in positively, pull some negative attention off of the university as a whole. But it's everything hitting the fan at the exact wrong time for Oklahoma State. Ben echoes what you said on our Starter Heyman Jewelers text line. Also, in this day and age, you got to get a jump on the head coaching search and worry about the transfer portal. That can lead us into this here, Nick. Just how desirable a job is Oklahoma State. We already have 4 openings just in the Power 4. Oklahoma State as of yesterday or Monday, Virginia Tech, UCLA, and Stanford. We know Frank Reich is just the 1 year kind of calm the waters type of hire.
A bridge guy.
Exactly, a bridge guy. Of those 4 jobs, where do you put Oklahoma State?
I actually think it's probably the most attractive. Stanford is tough because I don't know what an ACC job, where that lines up on the list of interested jobs. I think that also when you look at NIL investment potential, I think Oklahoma State's near the top because even years after T. Boone Pickens passes away, he still gives money to the university, right? They're still feeding off of it. I also think the Big 12, out of all those conferences of jobs open, the ACC, the Big 12, and the Big 10, obviously, the Big 12 is one of them that you can come in and kind of stake their claim. The Big 12 is wide open, and it feels like it's wide open year after year after year. I don't know if we truly realize also in this how bad it's been at Oklahoma State the last 2 years. You look at their 2024 schedule, they started out 3-0, and the very same Tulsa team that they lost to just last weekend, they beat 45-10 last year on the road at Tulsa. Then they ended up losing the next 9 games for in their conference slate. Their closest loss was at BYU 38-35. And that was with a fifth-year quarterback in Bowman and one of the best college running backs that finished in the top 7 Heisman voting in 2023, and Ollie Gordon.
And I think you brought back at least 4 offensive line starters from that unit.
Yes, and I'm sitting there. I remember watching Oklahoma State last year and wondering where the drop-off was in Ollie Gordon, especially because this was a guy that had almost 1,800 yards rushing in 2023, and he comes back and has less than 1,000. And he could have went to the pros after 2023. And so when you look at everything that frankly Mike Gundy put Oklahoma State through, a 9-game losing streak, and then you start out in 2025, fine, you win against UT Martin, but then an absolute embarrassing performance, Power 4 versus Power 4 against Oregon, losing 69-3, and then just an indescribable loss to Tulsa at home.
Yeah.
It is not surprising, and I think it's warranted that they fired him when they did. And he gets paid, what is it, $10 million on the buyout?
Oh,
he's fine. I always do wonder, though, as a kind of just on the sidebar, like, what do you do today? Like, if you're Mike Gundy, what are you doing today? Yeah, I mean, you've been for the last however many seasons, since I think 89, he's been a part of Oklahoma State for all of them but 4 years. Like, what do you do now? Like, you don't go to the office.
No, I mean, do you want to go golfing? People are going to recognize you.
That's
say,
what
what's
I'm
up,
saying.
coach?
Like,
just sit at home and, drink something brown. Like,
this isn't like, I mean, okay, hypothetically, let's speak about Scott Frost. This isn't like Scott after, however many years, 5 years. Like, this is decades and decades of Mike Gundy having his fingerprint across this program. I'm sure it's been a bizarre day for him, but I'm sure it's been an even crazier day for everybody in that building.
One of my buddies that I talk to pretty consistently lives down in Kansas City from there and is a big Oklahoma State guy, big Oklahoma State family. He's going through it, understandably so, because it's not the way you ever want a tenure to end with an alumni.
Yeah.
And it's different, too, between what went down with Mike Gundy and what went down with Pat Fitzgerald. Those are not the same situation. Both ended poorly for very different reasons. But think about this, Nick. Stuart Mandel tweeted this and wrote it then in his mailbag. Oklahoma State, when Mike Gundy took over, had really 2 good coaches. Jimmy Johnson was there for 3 years before he left for Miami and won a title. And then you had Les Miles, who was solid at Oklahoma State, not overwhelmingly good, but in the 4 years Les Miles was there, 4-7, 8-5, 9-4, 7-5. That's really good for Oklahoma State history. School's all-time winning percentage in football, 465 when Gundy walked in the door. He won 65% of his games.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that Oklahoma State is not a traditional power, not a blue blood. It's a probably B- tier job in terms of college football history. You can point back to Barry Sanders and the Whedon-Blackman run if you want to. Yeah. But other than that, you're not working with much. The thing about Oklahoma State is it's always seemed like a job with such potential. You had a great rivalry to hang your hat on to get fans excited every year with Oklahoma. That's out the window. T. Boone Pickens money, oil money, easy access to Texas talent. And that hasn't dried up. The money is still there, but are they putting it to use? Are they really using it? That's kind of up in the air and up for debate. I don't think it's a bad job by any means. I don't know if I'd go so far as to call it a sleeping giant, but I've certainly been underwhelmed by Oklahoma State over the last handful of years. If they had gotten over the hump in 21 or gotten over the hump in 2023, maybe we're talking about something different. But at the same time, maybe we're not. Let's keep it in orange. Does Clemson have the same decision to make? Are we to that point with Dabo Swinney? Does it have to take another year? Because you can't let emotion come into it. I mean, he won the first title since Danny Ford and then won another one 2 years later. But you can tell recruiting is not the same. Have the mercenary hire of Garrett Riley that clearly has not paid the dividends he wants it to do. If you're Clemson, I don't think Dabo gets the boot in season, but is that a guy that you're trying to shuffle off to the side with a cushy athletic department gig? Like, what is Clemson doing?
I don't think you can. I mean, we're talking Dabo is maybe the better question. Do you consider Dabo a top 10 coach in college football?
Not coaching like it right now. I mean,
but I'm saying from the standpoint, like even the last 5 years, right? Because you can't take like the list of top 5 coaches or top 10 coaches can't change year to year, in my opinion. Like body of work does matter.
It plays into
when making these decisions. Because like I think the way that Mike Gundy operated these last couple of seasons certainly played a factor into, do you feel like it's going in the right direction? And I think the answer is no. Here's the other part about Gundy also. Oklahoma State, and as I've been doing research on the Cowboys, they brought in 41 transfers.
Woo.
They have 41 transfers from this last offseason on their roster. That speaks and smells of desperation and of a coaching staff that identified the roster and looked at it and said, you know what? We need help in a lot of places, and we need it fast. And it's, 3 games into the season, you're not going to get the fruits of the labor.
And obviously those numbers are going to tick up at every program across the country. But did you see Kirk Ferentz doing that? You didn't, right?
Yeah.
Yes, Kirk Ferentz, longest tenured FBS coach right now, didn't hit the panic button, despite, not winning the double-digit games consistently. Gundy did. I wonder how much of that was him. I wonder how much of that was the administration. But Oklahoma State had never been that flashy school, right? Yeah, they had the flashy offenses under Dana Holgerson, who I would not be shocked if he at least gets a call, gauging his interest to return to Stillwater. I won't say anything more on that until anything else potentially breaks. But my point is, like, Oklahoma State's never been a hotbed for talent.
No.
Oklahoma's always been the flashy one. It's been, blue-collar, hardworking Oklahoma State, who, yes, had the T. Boone Pickens oil money. That was kind of the exception that proved the rule. They've always been that developmental program. Find the under-the-radar guys and get them to be the best they can be. Not saying you can't do that in the transfer portal day and age, but I think Nebraska's running into some of those same challenges in some ways.
I think you're right. And I'll also put on the caveat, that was 41 additional transfers in addition to the 22 high school guys that they signed.
So 63.
Yeah, you're talking
half
about
your roster.
Yeah, 63 new bodies on your roster in 2025. Because I can hear the caveat now. Well, don't sign as many high school guys. You're going to add more transfers. No. This is a complete roster overhaul from the get-go. Yeah, you're right. Oklahoma's the flashy one. And I think this is coming also, the decision could have come on the heels of Oklahoma appearing to start turning it around too.
Yeah.
I think that...
Which news on that front? John Mateer, broken hand.
Yeah.
Oof.
And they're getting ready to play some very important opponents. John Mateer, sidebar, made a business-like decision to take the hand surgery now. Yeah. He basically said, I have pro aspirations, and it looks like I could be a professional quarterback. And so, look, I care about Oklahoma, but I got to put my individual career first.
Well, and I think that's best for whatever legacy he's able to build at Oklahoma, too. Because if you get the surgery now, and I mean, Curtis Rourke had the thumb issue that he played through toward the end of last year, sat out a couple games for, but was still bothering him. I think it's the best decision for Oklahoma, too, though, because would you rather have a 60 to 70% John Mateer, or would you rather have 0% of him for now and then get back to 95% of him by the end of the year? It sounds like he's going to be back. He hits hand surgery. There's obviously going to be a long road ahead of him. But as much as it was a business decision and a future-oriented decision, I also think it's what's best for Oklahoma, rather than putting your guy through the mud. Oh, why isn't he playing well? Oh, no, he's fine. He can play through it, when clearly he can't. We know football is a warrior culture sort of game where guys are going to want to play through it. But I think this is better for everyone to save the speculation and the wondering. It boosts your guys' narrative too.
Here's what's crazy. So I'm continuing to kind of dive deep into Oklahoma State recruiting roster numbers and stuff. I did not realize it's as bad. We talk about Nebraska's inability to grab in-state talent. Oklahoma has better high school football talent, and it's a deeper pool than what the state of Nebraska has. There's a couple of more schools to fight with, right? Whether it's Tulsa or, and Oklahoma is obviously big brother in that state. And so the point's not necessarily, it's not directly comparable to the state of Nebraska. But Austin, in 2023, the class of 2023, Oklahoma State comes off the successful season, and they signed the 8th best player in the state of Oklahoma in that state. The top 8 in this order went to Michigan State, Oklahoma, A&M, Arkansas, Alabama, Colorado, Oklahoma State. That was in 2023.
You cannot get beat out by Michigan State, by Arkansas, by Colorado.
Then after Oklahoma State's guy, ranked 8th, it went Oklahoma, Vanderbilt, North Carolina, Oklahoma before, and then Houston, Ohio, then Oklahoma State again. How about in 2024? Let's see if it gets a little bit better. Out of the state of Oklahoma, OSU was able to sign their highest rated recruit was 14th in the state. The top 13 players went to Oregon, Vandy, the next 3 to Oklahoma, Iowa State, Oklahoma, Tulsa, TCU, Tulsa, Washington State, Oklahoma State. That is the rankings of now. They're not, obviously, it's not perfect, and you can't go off of rankings, but the inability to recruit the state, right? And that was on the heels also of Oklahoma not having a good couple of years to start out with Brent Venables.
When they had to make the argument, hey, Oklahoma's not going to play at home that much. Mom and dad won't be able to see it.
Exactly. And so, you're in the wide open Big 12. It just something these last couple of seasons was not right with Mike Gundy. And it's unfortunate to see from the emotional standpoint, from the emotional perspective. Yeah, because you would like to give him, hey, this is my last ride. If he would have come out, you could have come out this week on Monday and said, look, I think it's time for me to go out. This is going to be my last season. I'm going to enjoy it while I'm here. But and we'd all know, okay, probably behind closed doors, they're trying to usher him out, right? So from an emotional perspective, we'd love that. We'd love that opportunity. But from a strictly business perspective, the athletic director and the administration cannot wait. They cannot wait. And that this was a one-sided decision because of the way that Mike Gundy talked on Monday. He comes out and says, I'm going to be here until they tell me I can't be or until I decide not to be. And I think I'm here. I got 3 years left on my contract. And then the next day, bam, guillotine, chopping block. You're done.
See ya. Thanks for everything and thanks for nothing at the same time. Which leads us, I think, to this to wrap up the segment. Is Gundy done coaching? Does he have another job in him? Because I can see a world in which Mike Gundy takes the $10 million, retires, they bring him back in 10 years as a, hey, thanks, sorry it ended so poorly, but now that the program is back on stable footing, we can recognize and appreciate what it is you did. I would not be surprised if Mike Gundy's not done coaching, but that's a guy that's going to be best in the American Conference, Sun Belt Conference probably at this point. I don't think he gets another power job, but then the Oklahoma State aspect of this, where do they go? GJ Kinney in North Texas, potentially, but they're moving to the Pac-12.
Yeah.
Eric Morris at North Texas has been around. Do they want the hot shot up-and-comer? Do they want the quote-unquote retread? Do they want to give a coordinator the shot? I mean, Ben Arbuckle, his name has been thrown around. Zach Robinson is an alum with the Atlanta Falcons.
Doesn't it feel... So I think there's one option. I think there's one choice, and I think it's Colin Klein, at the A&M coordinator, just because I think he fits the Big 12 really well. Just because from his offensive skill set. The only way that Colin Klein doesn't take it is if Kansas State opens up, which I don't think Chris Kleiman's done. I don't think at all.
Kleiman's got a couple.
Kleiman's fine. I think there's no question about that, unless things dramatically fall off the tracks, and then you can point to, okay, well, you ushered Will Howard out, you brought in Avery Johnson, you crowned him as the next quarterback, so you see what happens. I think it's Colin Klein. Here is what I would also say about Ben Arbuckle. Doesn't it feel like his move to Oklahoma now has kind of made him look like a better candidate? Like, I don't know if Oklahoma State has the pull to grab the next best coordinator or the next best group of 5 coach to Power 4 move.
Do they have a better chance than Virginia Tech? Do they have a better chance than UCLA?
I think UCLA is the worst job available.
UCLA or Stanford?
Stanford. It's 3C, 3B.
Right. But then you have to think about what other jobs could potentially open up. And is anybody waiting for Billy Napier to be gone? Because that to me is the other major domino.
Yeah. And that's where I wonder, okay, so we mentioned Clemson. Like, where would Clemson go? Like that's I know that's like the very cliche question that we all ask, and most of the time it's just to provide engagement and be like, hey, so where would Nebraska go? And you could go through a hypothetical list of 1,000 names that would actually probably want the job in Nebraska, but then also Nebraska would be able to get. Like Clemson, are you going to do that's essentially their Alabama version of Nick Saban retiring or moving on from Nick Saban.
Yeah.
And is anything going to feel like, okay, you know what, with this hire, we're stepping in the right direction? Because you can't go get Nick Saban.
No.
Let's say LSU wins the title. You feel good about stealing Brian Kelly from LSU, which is not going to happen. Like, no,
LSU's ponying up to keep him around if he wins a title.
And so, like, you're not going to be able to sway Marcus Freeman from Notre Dame. Like, you're not going to be these top coaches. You're not taking Dan Lanning from Oregon and moving him to
Clemson,
South Carolina to coach in the ACC. No. So that's where it's like, once again, you can swing the big stick and say, oh, well, we're Clemson. We have higher expectations. The standard's higher. We compete for championships. Well, that's great, but you're not going to do it with an established championship winning coach.
My perspective on this was irrevocably swayed by the Kentucky and North Carolina and Villanova coaching searches.
Oh, certainly.
Like Duke had its succession plan with Shire. Seems like Hubert Davis was pretty much always the plan for North Carolina. But Jay Wright made Villanova into a really good job. Running the top of the Big East, private school, resources, basketball focused.
Yeah.
Didn't get anything out of it. But then Kentucky. I mean, that's a top 4 job in the sport. I mean, that might be a top 4 job in all of college athletics, without a doubt. UConn's a really good program. I mean, 6 banners speak for themselves. But for Dan Hurley to not leave Storrs, Connecticut for Lexington, for Scott Drew. Now, I know there's a lot going on with Scott Drew, what he was able to do to build Baylor back up after everything that he walked into. But for him to not leave Waco, Texas for basketball royalty has forever just changed the lens through which I view these big school coaching searches. It's not as easy as we're this name, we have money, you coach us now.
And I do wonder how much conference affiliation plays a part into these conversations, right? Like somebody on the text line brought up Lincoln Riley, right? You knew that the Oklahoma was going to transition to the SEC. At the time when he took USC, you were unaware that USC was going to join the Big 12. Who knows if Lincoln Riley, or Big 10, excuse me. Yeah. Who knows if Lincoln Riley was made aware of that? I also, is Oklahoma viewed on the same playing field as Clemson and Alabama's and USC's in terms of jobs? I don't think so.
Not in the SEC.
No, certainly not in the SEC. But then as we bring this conversation full circle and almost get to break here, that's where I think Oklahoma State is attractive. Because you have a blueprint, especially if it works this year with Texas Tech. You have a blueprint you're in a wide open conference, and all you got to do is make the 12-team, probably 16-team playoff coming up in the next couple of years. That's your goal.
Yeah.
And if you're in the playing field, you're there. It's a hell of a lot easier to make the playing field in the Big 12 conference that's wide open. It feels like year after year. Maybe there's a top team in there every single season, but in terms of like 2 teams or 3 teams, if you're going to have automatic qualifiers, you have to be top 4 in the conference year after year. If Texas Tech's strategy works, which to this point it has, there you go. There you go. NIL investment, a new coach that provides rejuvenized energy, and I think Oklahoma State is the best job out of the 4 that are open right now.
Let's jump off on that when we get back to Old School.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services is here to help you protect things that are most important to you. Whether it's your home, your family, or your future, Jack Russell has the proven experience to get the job done while developing authentic relationships with you. Give Jack a call today at 402-421-9100. Again, that's 402-421-9100. Or visit one of his 2 locations in Lincoln or Seward and learn how you can excel in the complicated world of insurance. Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, a trusted and well-respected representative since 1999.
Ready to upgrade your harvest lineup? Right now at Landmark Implement, get up to a 36-month waiver on select John Deere combines. That's 3 full years with no interest, giving you the flexibility to put the reliability of John Deere to work on your farm. Our team is here to keep your operation running strong with the latest technology, unmatched parts and service support, and the reliability of John Deere equipment. Visit your local Landmark Implement today or check us out at landmarkimp.com and experience the Landmark difference.
Oh, Kansas.
Here we go. Second half today.
You just don't stop giving, do you?
Green flag, we're underway.
The closest finish in NASCAR Cup Series history. Close to downtown, amazing campgrounds. 3 NASCAR races in one weekend, and it's the playoffs.
You guys can't drive.
Now you're just showing off. But we're not mad. In fact, we're looking forward to it. NASCAR Playoffs Weekend at Kansas Speedway, September 26th through the 28th. Get your tickets now at kansasspeedway.com.
Big news, Nebraska. Love Omaha is now Love Nebraska. This is more than just a new name. It's a tribute to what Nebraska represents in the world of volleyball. It's still the same team with the same mission, led by players you know and love. Now backed by a new ownership group led by Jordan Larson. As Love Nebraska, they're entering an exciting new chapter, pushing for a championship title in 2026 and building new opportunities for the next generation of players across the state. They want you with them. Let's show the world how Nebraska plays volleyball. Join the movement at lovneb.com and sign up to become a Love Nebraska Insider today.
Advanced Medical Imaging is hosting their third annual Breast Cancer Awareness Walk on October 11th at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. Hear inspiring stories from survivors, enjoy local food truck vendors, a live DJ, and other family-friendly activities as we unite to bring awareness about breast cancer. Check-in begins at 8:30 a.m. with the walk starting at 9. Register your team today for Advanced Medical Imaging's third annual Breast Cancer Awareness Walk online at amimaging.com. Let's walk for those we've lost, for those still fighting, and for a future without breast cancer.
Make your next event unforgettable with Grazing Gouda, your local artists and experts in charcuterie and grazed tables. From boardrooms to ballrooms, they turn gatherings into experiences with stunning spreads of artesian cheeses, cured meats, fresh fruits, and gourmet bites. Perfect for corporate luncheons, weddings, parties, or any celebration that deserves a wow moment. They handle the details, you take the compliments. Book your graze table today at GrazingGouda.com. Grazing Gouda, because every event deserves to be savored.
Fall is here, and so are cooler temps, darker evenings, and slick roads. Is your vehicle ready for the change in season? At A1 Automotive, we've got you covered. From tire checks, brake inspections, batteries, and heater systems, we make sure your car is road ready for the Nebraska winters ahead. Don't wait until the first frost. Schedule your fall car care checkup today and drive with confidence all season long. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Concrete Industries has immediate job openings for precast production laborers and maintenance technicians. Concrete Industries offers great pay, health benefits, 401k, a wellness program, holidays, and paid time off. Apply today to earn a starting pay of $21.50 per hour plus a $1,500 hiring bonus. Concrete Industries is hiring all experience levels and offers on-the-job training. Start your career today as a precast production laborer or maintenance technician. Visit concreteindustries.com.
After a long, hot summer, are you ready for fall? What about your home? Is your heating system ready for cooler temperatures ahead? Call Bryant for your fall heating check. No matter what brand of equipment you own, Bryant's trained technicians will thoroughly clean and inspect your furnace or heat pump to make sure you stay warm, safe, and comfortable. Call today to schedule your home heating check. 467-1111. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111. Bryant, whatever it takes.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC. This month kicks off Koppel's 50th anniversary sale. We're celebrating 50 years by offering an additional $500 discount to the next 100 customers that buy a new vehicle. This is in addition to the huge savings already in place. You can take an extra $500 off our discounted price, or we can cut you a check on the spot. Celebrate with savings and see why customers have trusted Koppel since 1975. It's our way of saying thank you for all these years.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back in segment 2, Old School, here on a Wednesday. Still much to get to in the coaching ranks in the world of college football. Let's go ahead and put this to rest. We have a texter, 1171, who said, did you really just use Dabo and Saban in a comparison? What is in the water there today? The two should never, ever be compared or uttered in the same sentence. Saban is the greatest college coach of all time.
If you go back and listen I did not say, first off, yes, I did use Dabo and Saban in a comparison, but not on a national scale. I use them in reference in comparison to what they mean at their respective school and program. Nick Saban is one of the best and greatest college football coaches there ever was. Dabo Swinney is not. However, Dabo Swinney is the greatest coach to ever coach at Clemson.
Yes.
So in conversation, yes, I did use them as what they mean to their respective program.
Let me one up you. I'll take the heat
No,
off.
please
of you.
do. Please do.
Mike Gundy is the Nick Saban of Oklahoma State.
Oh, no.
There. I mean,
probably.
It
true.
is. Chris Peterson is the Nick Saban of Boise State. Gary Patterson is the Nick Saban of TCU. We're not putting them in the same conversation.
No. And so here, with all joking aside, Dabo Swinney's won championships at Clemson, which is a lot more than what other coaches at other institutions that have been
played
given
in more title games than even won.
And have been. We can joke about Clement or Dabo and make fun of him for not adjusting and not taking care of business and this, that, and the third. We can go all that and all of it's true. However, what also is factual is that he's won titles, which is a lot more, or is something that a lot of other coaches cannot say. And they've been given longer runways than Dabo has at Clemson. Now, programs have different standards and different expectation levels, and rightfully so. But I think Clemson would be stupid to fire Dabo Swinney at this point of his career.
I tend to agree.
I also like, so we had a great point that was brought up during the break from a listener that said, look, if Kalen DeBoer's not at Alabama after this season, do you think Alabama would think twice about scooping up Dabo Swinney if he was on the market?
Probably go get him. Yeah. You at least call.
Yeah.
You at least gauge your own interest.
Yeah.
To pick up where we left off to at the end of last segment, let's say, Nick, that you are a head football coach looking for a job in college football. Would you rather, in the current playoff structure, the current world of college athletics today, would you rather be the head coach at Oklahoma State fighting to get to the Big 12 championship game in that automatic berth? Or would you rather be the head coach at UCLA fighting to get into the top 4 of the Big 10?
Big 12 is, if I'm a coach looking for success, it's Big 12. I think the Big 10's hard. Like, I don't know if we have really grasped how balanced and how deep the Big 10 and SEC are. To earn those automatic bids, like in terms of the top 4, I think it's tough. I think it's really tough.
But there's also
you need one of those schools to slip.
But there's also 4. As opposed to you have no margin for error. If you're not playing for the championship in the Big 12, you're not getting into the college football playoff. The only 2 teams with a chance to get into the playoff in the Big 12 are the 2 teams that play in the championship game, as currently constructed. In the Big 10, at least you have 2 spots of wiggle room. Again, it's probably a harder climb, given, like you said, the depth of the conferences. Throw the SEC in there as well. But, that's when you look at, would you rather take a mid-level ACC job or a mid-level SEC job? You're probably closer to the playoff right away in the SEC just by nature of you can get into the top 4. But it's probably easier to build a more consistent, sustainable product, I would guess, in the Big 12, in the ACC, because once, like you said, the Texas Tech example is going to be so fascinating. If you find the formula, now the other schools are going to be able to pony up those resources to compete with you as easily as in the Big 10 and the SEC. So then it's more, okay, so who's going to play, Texas Tech, for example, in the Big 12 championship?
You make a great point, because I think from a resources, here I am saying that stupid R word, resources standpoint, I think Big 10 jobs, and you talk about revenue, not revenue sharing, media rights money and stuff like that. Just the brand is probably going to be able to generate more money. I wonder though. So okay, let's take the current landscape of both conferences. The Big 10 has 7 teams that are in the top 25. So you need to be better than 3 of the ranked teams. So using Big 10's, let's use Big 10 reference here. That would be just going off of AP rankings. This is not how I necessarily feel this rankings are going to finish. Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon, I guess
Indiana.
So can you be better than Indiana at UCLA? I mean, granted, Indiana's done it, so you might be able to. This isn't a great point from me, I guess.
But no, it's the point. It's tough because Bach and I had this conversation through the lens of Nebraska football.
Mm-hmm.
You know, is it better for Nebraska football to try to be one of 4 in the Big Ten or one of 2 in the Big 12? Because
you don't want my honest opinion on that one.
That's why we're here.
I think if you picked up and put Nebraska in a different conference, I think they're much better.
And to just reiterate this, Nebraska should not go back to the Big 12
Certainly
right now.
Not.
But Nebraska might have been short-sighted, but it's hard to pass up that money because would you rather be 9-3 with $25 million or 9-3 with $75 million? You know, you're going to be closer to the playoff at 9-3 in the Big 10 than at 9-3 in the Big 12, but you probably feel better about your chances to get to 10-2 or 11-1 in the Big 12. And then it's okay. Who's going to play Nebraska in the title game for a chance to go to the playoffs?
This is a horrible take, but I'm going to say it anyway. you just be better.
Straight up.
It's horrible. Like that's horrible analysis, not a horrible take. It's horrible analysis on how, like, in response to it all. But you know how you succeed? Just be better.
Mm-hmm.
Figure out a way to get it done. Teams, there are case studies every 5 years of teams that have gotten themselves out of the doldrums of whatever conference they were in, right? And in comparison, in comparison to the conference that they are in, to their respective conference, whether that's Colorado working out of the doldrums of the Big 12, or the Pac-12 previously, right? Or whatever it is, Indiana out of the Big 10 is the easy one. In 3 years, we're going to be able to do a case study and go, okay, how did Indiana do it? And was it stable, right? Because I think don't
get me started on Kurt Cignetti being the Nick Saban of Indiana football.
Oh, don't you do it. Tom Allen said,
Tom Allen would like a word. Don't tell me with a good time.
Now, here's the thing, though. Like, we have to have the conversation at some point about Kurt Cignetti and what he's done and how he coaches at Indiana. If he takes them to 2 playoff appearances in his first 2 seasons, I don't know. And then it's like, is Kurt Cignetti a big-time job opportunity? Is there a big-time job? Does Kurt Cignetti fit Florida?
He's been in the SEC. He was at Bama.
Gross.
But does he fit Florida? Doesn't
no
feel like
way.
it.
It doesn't
feel like
fit.
it.
It does not. The flashy of Florida does not fit Kurt Cignetti.
But did he fit Indiana at the time? Clearly, in retrospect,
I
you
think
can
so.
say.
I wouldn't be.
James
surprised.
Madison was kind of Florida of the FCS there for a while.
I suppose.
In some ways.
But hey, he just wins, man. And it bothers the crap out of me.
Well, and that's where Nebraska went with the Brett Bielema hire in Matt Rule. You know, that's kind of, Illinois didn't get good overnight. They built to it. That's kind of the track Nebraska is taking. And that, Nick, is what I think frustrates a lot of Nebraska fans, is that it seems like it was overnight. Because it was overnight for Kurt Cignetti.
It was.
And there's something magnetic about him. There's something that he does right, that he can catch that lightning in a bottle and make a spark.
And what pisses you off as a fan from the outside is that he's able to say all these outlandish things. Let's call it what it is. He's able to say whatever the hell he wants, and he backs it up game after game, week after week. And like, he comes out this weekend after just throwing just demolishing a top 10 team in Illinois, who's a good football team.
Yeah.
Dominates them 63-10, comes out and says, yeah, you know what? It's going to be a harder test next week against Iowa than what the last one we had. And nobody can discredit him. Nobody can push back. Nobody can say, well, isn't that kind of snobby to say? Why? Because guess what? If he goes out there and he puts the whooping on Iowa, he's going to be able to.
You know why? Because what was our Cash Blitz keyword? Win.
Yeah.
508-777-1000. Win. That's what he does. But here's the thing. The interesting conversation with Indiana, they have 2 real games left that will probably be stumbling blocks for them. October 11th, they go to Oregon. November 8th, they go to Penn State. I mean, if Indiana's 10-2, but they didn't pass the 2 toughest tests on their schedule, I'd be curious to see how the College Football Playoff Committee ranks them, because 10-2 in the Big Ten, you lost to 2 teams that are, as of right now,
they're the quality losses.
Yeah, they're quality losses, but what's your quality win? Will the committee say, we let you in last year because of the story, but, you know what, you declined by a game. You didn't beat anyone like you did Michigan last year, which at the time was still a big kind of program changing win.
Mm-hmm.
Well, sorry, Indiana, you got your turn last time.
The quality win is Illinois.
Right.
Any time, it's the same conversation that we had last year with Indiana. Consistently, you're putting the whooping on teams 42-13, 41-20, 56-7 against Nebraska, 47-10 on the road, 66-0 against Purdue. You are putting belt to you know what.
Belt to booty.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm telling you, folks, nothing bothers me more because I can still see, and I mean this in a respectful way, smug Kurt Cignetti sitting at that table at St. Elmo's of Big Ten Media Days at his first time after he just says, Google me, I win. And everybody's like, who in the heck is this guy? And there he is. He just wins. And nothing, that is what I think really gets under the skin of every other program in the Big Ten is because Nebraska craves that. Like Matt Rule is very, very pointed and very good behind a microphone. And Nebraska needs somebody like that. But you know how much he would it would be great to have be able to take it to another level, whether this is Matt Rule, whether it's Nebraska's version of Kurt Cignetti, and just be like, I can say whatever I want back here, and nobody nationally can come after us because we just put a whooping on another top 10 team 63-10.
Yeah. And you can't imagine Nebraska beating Michigan 63-10.
Exactly.
You just can't right now.
My
Not
word.
to say it'll never happen, but no, two programs in two completely different places.
Is it wrong to say there's jealousy?
Oh, absolutely there is.
From not Nebraska's fan base necessarily, but from the country. Because like Florida,
yeah.
I mean, imagine what Florida feels.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about a guy that comes out, talks crap about the SEC scheduling model, copies the SEC scheduling model for the time being until it changes in 26. And now he's on the cusp of they control their destiny to potentially make a playoff. It's not like they don't play anybody. Their schedule is tougher than Nebraska's.
Well, I think they're different buckets of jealousy. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about those buckets of Kurt Cignetti jealousy. We'll do that and give away $50 to Grata Bar and Lounge right after this on Old School.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Join LES at 6 p.m. Thursday, October 9th at the LES Operations Center to learn about the utilities' proposed 2026 budget and electric rates and share your input at the annual public meeting. Learn more at les.com.
It's time for Bonsall Pool and Spa's Truckload event. From September 23rd through the 27th, stop by Bonsall Pool and Spa at 3201 Pioneers Boulevard to see an actual truck full of hot tubs with special prices. You'll save up to $3,000 on all hot tubs and swim spas, as well as $1,500 on all saunas and cold plunges. Use Nebraska football's bye week well by stopping in on September 27th for refreshments and giveaways. That's Bonsall Pool and Spa at 3201 Pioneers Boulevard in Lincoln.
We interrupt this commercial break for an important story.
There once was a man from Nebraska who went searching for food in Alaska. When his stomach was rumbling while laying in bed, he could think of only one option, Führer's cheese spread. So he left it once and drove day and night to return back home for cheese spread delight. Now his stomach is full and the voice in his head tells him no more vacations without Führer's cheese spread. Find yours today at most local grocers.
Make your next event unforgettable with Grazing Gouda, your local artists and experts in charcuterie and grazed tables. From boardrooms to ballrooms, they turn gatherings into experiences with stunning spreads of artesian cheeses, cured meats, fresh fruits, and gourmet bites. Perfect for corporate luncheons, weddings, parties, or any celebration that deserves a wow moment. They handle the details. You take the compliments. Book your graze table today at GrazingGouda.com. Grazing Gouda, because every event deserves to be savored.
Concrete Industries has immediate job openings for precast production laborers and maintenance technicians. Concrete Industries offers great pay, health benefits, 401k, a wellness program, holidays, and paid time off. Apply today to earn a starting pay of $21.50 per hour plus a $1,500 hiring bonus. Concrete Industries is hiring all experience levels and offers on-the-job training. Start your career today as a precast production laborer or maintenance technician. Visit concreteindustries.com.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service, bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Are your feet just killing you and you feel like all hope is lost? Say goodbye to discomfort and hello to pain relief at Brown's Shoe Fit. They offer expert advice along with high-quality products to help you find the right solution tailored to your specific needs. Need a different width? Not a problem. Brown's carries a wide range of widths in store. Brown's Shoe Fit on 66th and Q in Lincoln.
Hey there, this is Paul Scheel, owner of High Electric. I want to thank our friends and loyal customers and introduce High Electric to those looking for a new electrician. We've been serving the Lincoln and Omaha area for over 30 years, from design to install, upgrades, and repair. If you are a homeowner or a small business needing some electrical work, call us at 402-466-6606 or check us out at hyelectric.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
Attention all Wings fans, Buffalo Wings and Rings has daily specials that will make you want to stop in on all days of the week. Kids eat free on Mondays, and on Tuesdays enjoy 40% off boneless or traditional wings at a price that makes the whole family happy. And come back on Wednesdays for $1.39 chicken tenders all day long. Get to Wings and Rings today, 68th and O or in Williamsburg Village.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back in, Old School. Austin Norman, Nick Sainer hanging out with you for another couple hours here on The Ticket. Everybody's favorite question, what's for dinner? The easy answer is Grotto Bar and Lounge located in the Clock Tower Shopping Center at 70th and A. Grotto Bar and Lounge features a menu full of delicious options, ranging from unique menu items like the peanut butter burger or the wizard pastrami sandwich to your more traditional items like the mushroom burger or the French dip. They also have daily specials and incredible drink options. Visit Grotto Bar and Lounge today at 70th and A. Gave you the number earlier in the show. See who was listening. Texter number 3 with the correct answer. How many consecutive bowl games did Oklahoma State qualify for under Mike Gundy? We'll get that $50 to Grotto Bar and Lounge. The gift cards work for brunch as well. Grotto is about, about a mile and change away from my church, Messiah.
That's right.
And about once a month, we are there having brunch after service. It is
so
incredible. Love the people and the food down there at Grotto. All right, Nick, the buckets of jealousy for different teams, different programs, different fan bases when it comes to Kurt Signet.
Yeah.
There's the Nebraska, Florida bucket of jealousy. Why can't we have that for us? Who's this little nobody coming in and usurping our spot? There's I would even say the Purdue, the Vanderbilt, the Northwestern, probably those schools like that. Why couldn't that be us? Why can't we catch our lightning in a bottle higher and go on that run ever? And then the third group is like your Louisvilles. I think teams in that realm, probably not TCU, but like a Louisville, Utah, I think qualifies for this conversation of, man, we have been so much closer for so much longer or had actual pockets of success, unlike Indiana, but those guys make that higher. That basketball school makes that higher and we don't. Why them?
Is there more to it than just getting the hire right?
Always.
Because I wonder if sometimes schools like Northwestern and Indiana in this case, they can make the right hire and just a couple of things don't go their way. Mm-hmm. And it maybe they're just so fragile from a program standpoint that it's just hard to get going.
Alignment is a buzzword that gets thrown around a lot when you talk about like upper management, but clearly it matters.
Because in all honesty, like I think David Braun's a really good coach. I think David Braun fits at a spot like a Louisville, somewhere like that, right? Potentially, like even like an Oklahoma State, not necessarily his like what he's good at defensively and stuff, but in terms of like that type of tier, I'm saying, I think Northwestern is a very tough spot just to coach in general
for anyone, absolutely.
Right? I think Northwestern is more so than Indiana. Like I wonder how much more it is.
So is Illinois jealous because they didn't have that run?
Yeah. I think that's the thing. Like this, we're talking about Nebraska litmus test. What do you think it is now? Maybe the fans aren't as passionate in Champaign, but what do you think Illinois is thinking? Illinois Sports Talk Radio this week. Man, the Fighting Illini, they had their litmus test against Indiana over the weekend, and what happened? 63-10 walloping. They lost. Think about how deflated it feels. Because Nebraska fans, we're sitting here saying, man, you feel like Nebraska's on the cusp of being a middle of the road to top tier Big Ten team, and then you lose by 3. Okay, yeah, you can go a couple of plays better. However, on the flip side, it's almost like which one would you rather be? The lesser of two. It's like Illinois thinks, oh yeah, we're able to compete for a playoff. We're able to compete potentially for a Big Ten championship appearance. We're one of the big 4 or 5 schools in the Big Ten.
Founding charter member.
Yeah, here we go. Here we go. Now it's our chance to prove it.
Yeah.
And from out of the gates, you don't have a shot. No. I can't. I think the feeling in Champaign is probably worse than the feelings in Lincoln right now.
That is a perfect, and I mean perfect, launching point into our topic at 4 p.m. What other schools across the country are in Nebraska's boat? What issues that we've seen in Nebraska over the last 20 years are going on other places too? We're in our Husker bubble, but guess what, Nebraska fans? The issues that you've seen and heard about are not just isolated to Nebraska. We'll talk about that leading off the 4 o'clock hour.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Did you know that deer collisions are covered under the comprehensive portion of your car insurance? That means, like with hail damage or vandalism, since they are out of your control, they don't usually raise your insurance rates. And that's a good thing, since most deer don't carry liability insurance. At Eustace Body Shop, we fixed all kinds of animal collision damage, from cows to raccoons, bobcats, and even turkeys. We can't do much for the animal, but we can get your car back on all 4s and looking like new again.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. 93.7 The Ticket. Fox, KFXL Weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today. A few sprinkles are possible this afternoon. Otherwise, we'll see partly sunny skies with a light breeze and a high near 76. Tonight, mainly clear skies and calm winds, with a low around 55. And tomorrow, lots of sunshine with light winds and an actually high near 80. I'm meteorologist Kyle Tucker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Yesterday, your water heater worked just fine. Today, surprise! When you're out of hot water, just call the plumbers at Bryant. In most cases, you can get same-day water heater replacement. What you won't get is a costly surprise with the bill. At Bryant, the price you're quoted is the price you'll pay. No last-minute extras for piping or ventilation alterations. Need a new water heater? Just call Bryant, 467-1111. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. We do whatever it takes.
Oh, Kansas.
Here we go. Second half today.
You just don't stop giving, do you?
Green flag, we're underway.
The closest finish in NASCAR Cup Series history. Close to downtown, amazing campgrounds. 3 NASCAR races in one weekend, and it's the playoffs.
You guys can't drive.
Now you're just showing off. But we're not mad. In fact, we're looking forward to it. NASCAR Playoffs Weekend at Kansas Speedway, September 26th through the 28th. Get your tickets now at kansasspeedway.com.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills Global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Join LES at 6 p.m. Thursday, October 9th at the LES Operations Center to learn about the utilities' proposed 2026 budget and electric rates, and share your input at the annual public meeting. Learn more at les.com.
Fall is here, and so are cooler temps, darker evenings, and slick roads. Is your vehicle ready for the change in seasons? At A1 Automotive, we've got you covered. From tire checks, brake inspections, batteries, and heater systems, we make sure your car is road ready for the Nebraska winters ahead. Don't wait until the first frost. Schedule your fall car care checkup today and drive with confidence all season long. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services is here to help you protect things that are most important to you. Whether it's your home, your family, or your future, Jack Russell has the proven experience to get the job done while developing authentic relationships with you. Give Jack a call today at 402-421-9100. Again, that's 402-421-9100. Or visit one of his 2 locations in Lincoln or Seward and learn how you can excel in the complicated world of insurance. Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, a trusted and well-respected representative since 1999.
Are you ready to transform your body and your life in just 10 weeks? At Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping, our kickboxing challenge combines heart-pumping cardio, strength training, and proven nutrition coaching to deliver real results. Lose fat, gain strength, and feel more confident than ever. Spots are limited. Don't wait. Join the next Farrell's 10-week challenge starting October 11th and take the first swing towards a healthier, stronger you. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping, results, not excuses. Join today, fxblincoln.com. That's fxblincoln.com.
Make your next event unforgettable with Grazing Gouda, your local artists and experts in charcuterie and grazed tables. From boardrooms to ballrooms, they turn gatherings into experiences with stunning spreads of artesian cheeses, cured meats, fresh fruits, and gourmet bites. Perfect for corporate luncheons, weddings, parties, or any celebration that deserves a wow moment. They handle the details. You take the compliments. Book your graze table today at GrazingGouda.com. Grazing Gouda, because every event deserves to be savored.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Old School, sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back to Old School, hour 2 of the show, 402-464-5685. You want to be a part of the conversation. A lot of good stuff going on that Sartor Heyman Jewelers text line. Austin Norman, Nick Sainer with you here for Old School. Talk to Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald. Some Husker football, probably some Husker baseball, fall ball as well, coming up here at the bottom of the hour.
A lot of commits.
A lot of commits.
A lot of commits. A lot of
commits.
Yeah. We'll see.
We're about it. Let's just go back to the text line here really quick. 1508 says, take away Nebraska's money, they're nothing but Purdue.
Ooh.
They're Kansas a couple years ago.
Ooh.
I don't want to just say rings, but peep the rings. I would also say Kansas and Purdue are basketball schools. Nebraska is still a football school. And yes, Nebraska has done the whole 3-9, 4-8, 5-7 thing.
Mm-hmm.
But you pulling out that comparison, 1508, wildly misunderstand how bad a situation Les Miles left Kansas in, and just how dire things were for Ryan Walters in Purdue as recently as last year.
That's another coach I think is better than what the situation had.
Walters?
Yeah. I think if you put Ryan Walters at Colorado as an alum, maybe not the national awareness that obviously with Coach Prime, but I think they're serviceable. I think he's still there.
Probably.
Daryl Hazel left Purdue in a bad spot too. That speaks to what Jeff Brom was able to do.
Jeff Brom might be underrated though.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Jeff Brom put Purdue at their ceiling.
Which again, if you're a Purdue fan, that's where
wins.
that jealousy comes in. Our ceiling's 8-4 when Indiana can hit the playoff.
Ooh, yeah.
I'd be pissed.
I would.
I don't think like that.
Yeah, that's what's interesting. And going back to Oklahoma State from way back in the first segment, they're a football school slightly, right? Like they're you don't look at them as a basketball program or basketball school. That's where Nebraska is certainly a football place. I mean, that's not a hot take at all. I think the other part is fan investment.
Mm-hmm.
The fan investment in Nebraska is ridiculous in comparison to Purdue or Northwestern or Kansas.
Oh, yeah. Nebraska Volleyball Nut says, correction, Nebraska is a volleyball school.
Yes, they are. I'm not getting into that conversation.
Sure.
People on Twitter, man, Twitter's been a bad place to be these last couple of weeks. People talking about rev sharing and people talking about rev sharing with volleyball. And if the football money's shared, I just need to get off Twitter for a while.
Oh, come on. You'd miss it.
I don't know. We're going to find out this weekend. I think I'm going to turn off notifications this weekend.
I will say, I think you have a better chance of staying off Twitter longer than a mutual friend of ours.
Certainly not.
Who seemed to delete it.
We love him, but
week,
that man tries to get rid of his profile week after week.
And he just always comes crawling back.
Yep.
It's always hilarious. We do.
Yeah.
2 days in a row with an allusion to that friend.
Yes.
As well. But you know what? Let's move on to the topic at hand. The issues that Nebraska has faced in recent years, say the last 15 years, are just college football issues. I think the easy surface level one is Florida canceled a non-conference series. There's all this uproar about Nebraska. It blew over in like 3 minutes for Florida.
Mm-hmm.
No national reaction. No, none of that. So guess what? You might not like it, but it's normal. Okay, now the ones that actually matter. Illinois. Nick, they had their moment, like you said. They were there. They were ready to seize the moment.
Yeah.
You know what? In Indiana, Illinois, they're right next door to each other. We got to prove that we're the Big Ten team, that we belong, and that we're going to put Kurt Cignetti in his place.
Mm-hmm.
You know what Nebraska is familiar with from Illinois, and they can relate? Blowouts in primetime. It's your biggest game of the year up to this point.
That sucks.
It does. It sucks to say.
It's horrible.
But one of my buddies texted me after the game. It's like, well, yeah, Nebraska, Michigan was bad. But, you could be Illinois right now. My first reaction was, Nebraska has been Illinois.
Illinois has been Nebraska. I mean, look at every single, before this year against Cincinnati, every single opener. Single opener. Whether it was at Illinois in 2021 or whether it was at Minnesota in 2023. That's where I wonder, going back to the question I posed last segment for a second, is it possible that programs hire good coaches and that the program is the issue?
Oh, yeah.
That's what I wonder, because Matt Rule says ad nauseum, and I don't blame him for this. Like, he doesn't want to be, he doesn't want to be talked in the same light as things that happened in 21 or things that happened in 2018 or whatever it might have been, right? Mm-hmm. But also, you're starting to see similar not patterns, because Nebraska's not going to be 3-9 this year. Like, they're not going to be. They're going to make a bowl game. Like we'll. Nebraska's making a bowl game. If they don't,
if it doesn't happen, I expect y'all to clip this.
I don't know what I can put on the line if Nebraska doesn't make a bowl game. I mean, here's the thing. So I think in all seriousness, though, like, we understand that Matt Rule doesn't want to be competitive or compared to those things that happened prior to his arrival.
Mm-hmm.
But now you're a part of Nebraska and you're a part of this program. And as things stack up, like losses on big stages, just naturally, we're going to clump you into that conversation.
Yeah.
Until you prove it otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe for me, a win against Cincinnati, if that's your marquee win, is not what we signed up for at Nebraska.
No. And here's the thing. I think that in a lot of ways, Matt Rule can be the Mark Jackson, potentially, right? With the Warriors, build them back up.
Yeah.
And then it's on Matt Rule to prove that that's not all he is.
Yeah.
Because he's had these struggles everywhere he's gone. Until he proves otherwise and his programs prove otherwise, that's what the conversation around Matt Rule is going to be. I think of it this way too, Nick, because I 100% agree that there are a bunch of good coaches out there that don't become head coaches by accident, that work their way up the totem pole, that grind, that know what they're talking about, that could give you all the buzzwords and mean it about culture, about program building, about talent, about recruiting, about alignment, about rev share, you name it. They know the answer.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some of those good coaches will be best served staying in a coordinator role. Some of those coaches will need to do everything their way, carve their own path. it's never just one guy. Like at Indiana, it's not just Curt Cignetti. It's the players, it's the assistant coaches, it's Scott Dolson, the AD. Sure, there's some upper level alignment there. It's the boosters, it's the donors, it's everything. But what I think Nebraska is searching for in a lot of ways is that cycle disruptor. Mike Riley was never going to be that. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be the stability guy.
That's
Scott
a perfect
Frost.
way to say it.
Scott Frost was going to be that guy.
Yeah.
Turns out he wasn't. Matt Rule kind of, again, feels like the stability hire. Let's get a professional in the room, and that can work. But right now, through 2 years and change, it's too early to say, Matt Rule has shocked the system. And maybe it's not a shock, right? That's not what Matt Rule was going for, right? Curt Cignetti was the shock, and it's more than him. But I think about this in the context of players, too. People heard me today with Bach talk about Emmett Johnson. I've brought this up with Ja'Cory Barney over the last couple of days as well.
Sure.
You cannot change a game, a program, a team individually. You can't do it. It's too much for one person. But you know what? Are you telling me that the Purdue team that Rondale Moore played on was better than the team that Ja'Cory Barney is playing on right now? And Rondale Moore is an elite player. Like, that's an all-timer at Purdue who was unfortunately hampered by injuries. But guess what? He was a shock to the system. There was enough infrastructure around him to allow him to be himself and put up those numbers. But whether it's a coach, whether it's a player, some of these changes need to be a shock to the system, need to be a jolt that will start with one person with the force of personality or the talent that shocks the system, that says, oh, great, we got to wake up, we got to raise our level. Then everyone else comes alongside. There hasn't been that jolt to Nebraska that we've sensed yet.
Isn't obviously you've wanted that to be Matt Rule, but isn't that another reason why you brought Dylan Raiola in?
Yeah.
Like, couldn't you view him as like, okay, Nebraska has a 5-star quarterback. It's time.
Yeah.
Like, shock to the system. This is something that Nebraska hasn't had.
But then, at Indiana, everything goes right around them last year. Nebraska, not everything has gone right around them.
Yes. I was just going to say that. Talk about cycle disruptors, Curt Cignetti.
Yeah.
Brings a mentality. You said it perfectly during commercial break when we were talking about it. I hate how much I respect Curt Cignetti. I hate it. It's not me wishing for his downfall. It's not me wishing for him to fail. I just wish I didn't. I wish it wasn't possible to say, yeah, look at what Cignetti's done at Indiana and use it as a conversation piece when talking about what we want from Nebraska. Cycle disruptor is great. I think that's a perfect adjective kind of comparison, what you want to happen there, because it feels not monotonous, but it feels like same thing over and over. Bring in a highly rated guy. Hopefully this one sticks. Bring in a new coach. Hopefully this one provides a new energy, and just hope that it works out on Saturdays. There's a lot of hoping. A lot of hoping. That's where, once again, it pisses me off how much I can quote and refer to Curt Cignetti, because one thing that's not going on over there is hoping. It is full belief.
They do. And this is not to discredit Matt Rule. Say that his way is wrong and Curt Cignetti's way is right. He is doing it the way that he knows how to do it.
And I think there are more than one way. There's more than one way to do it.
Absolutely, there is. But it was obvious from the get-go, the shock that Curt Cignetti provided to the system. Get me average resources here and I'll win, right? It's not obvious to me from the outside that Matt Rule has sent a shock through the system. Yeah. It sounds like there's better alignment with him and Troy Dannon in the collective. I mean, there's a great article in The Athletic from Penn State. How they had some of the same kind of infighting, the different collectives that they all had to get on the same page, and then their NIL really took off. I am not saying Matt Rule hasn't done anything right at Nebraska. Yeah. I'm not saying Matt Rule, had he done everything 100% correct, would have had the same results as Curt Cignetti. Different places, different contexts, and that's important. But if Matt Rule is going to be the guy to get Nebraska to the college football playoff and the heights that Nebraska fans want this program to get back to, he needs to disrupt that cycle somehow. And I just don't know if it's obvious yet if he's done that, and if so, what that shock has been.
And I don't know, like, and this is why we don't get paid the big bucks, right? from Nebraska, and why we're not as head coach. I don't know what it is. I would imagine that maybe that is what gets coaches fired eventually. Not Matt Rule,
yeah,
but other coaches, is that they just don't know which way to turn. Like, they don't know which button to push. They don't know what switch to flip,
Right.
And that's when you can get into the cycle. Okay, going full circle, Mike Gundy. Like whether it was he doesn't know in this new day and age of college football which button to push, or whether it's he doesn't want to, right? Whichever, for whatever reason, it just was done. It was done. And when you get to that point, it's a real slippery slope because things can go. It's like money, right? It's easy to spend it when you have a lot of it. It's easy to spend it when you and it goes away fast. You get broke fast when you have a lot of money. It takes a long time to get to be a millionaire, but you can blow millions in the blink of an eye. And that's what it feels like with college football programs right now. It can take, sure, there's quick fixes, right? But from a stability standpoint, it's going to take a couple of years to really prove if it's stable. But man, you can fall off and you can fall down quick if you're not careful.
A couple things from our Sartor Heyman Jewelers text line. Jesse, a good leader doesn't change everything himself. He puts good people around him to change everything. Sometimes that's a build. Sometimes that's a burn. We can say pretty clearly, Nick, the first 2 years of Matt Rule being at Nebraska didn't have the right people around him to change everything.
Yeah,
we saw
been
that
a lot of turnover.
And that's fine. You got to get to the healthy spot. Let's get to this then. From Unmasked Texter, here's a culture shock. Win the trenches on both sides of the ball. It's that simple. Let's think through that. Donovan Raiola has probably improved Nebraska's offensive line over the last 2 years and change. Been a slow process, and it's still middle of the road to slightly above. Terry Braden just got here. Okay, so the coaches weren't immediate impact guys necessarily. They're build guys. They're slow burn guys. So be it. But is that a shock to the system? Not yet. So then you're going to the players. Nebraska hasn't brought in Caden Proctor. You get bricks and pile. And yes, we know that it's hard to start on the offensive line as a freshman in the Big Ten. That shouldn't be the expectation. But was Ben Scott the disruptor that, created a lineage of centers? No. Rocco Spindler isn't, lighting the world on fire. He's not bad, but tackles are what get you paid, right? The cycle disruptor would have been Elijah Pritchett comes in, starts from the jump, has cleaned up his issues when he's in a system that gives him discipline and works for him. He hasn't been that. Williams Nawarni had a year at Missouri last year. He's a guy that looks the part of a cycle disruptor, a shock to the system.
Yeah.
Hasn't been that at all.
Could you argue that he's been the closest?
He's played pretty well.
I think he's been the closest.
But this is my point. The closest still isn't there. And that's goes back to what Matt Rule said on Monday about the Michigan game. Well, if it'd be concerning if we were giving up 6 yards a run every time. Then it's okay. They can do this whenever they want, which Michigan kind of did to ice the game. But before that, it was just the big runs. But Matt Rule said it was a different issue every time. I think it's in a lot of ways a different issue every time for Nebraska as well, Nick, because against Michigan, you could tell the difference sometimes in talent. In the trenches, yes. But Justice Haynes is a better running back than Ja'Cory Barney is receiver right now. The best player on the field for Nebraska either way, or, on the field either way, Michigan's guy was just a little bit better. Okay, there it's talent. When Nebraska loses to Minnesota, is it a talent issue? Shouldn't be.
No.
It should be something else. When Nebraska is in these close games with Wisconsin and Iowa, is that a talent issue? No, it's probably something else. And maybe it's talent. Maybe we underrate Iowa's talent because they have that narrative around them. But it's not just Nebraska's not good enough. You can fix in recruiting. It's not the resources like you talked about on the drive. Seems like the coaching has gotten better. Seems like there's better alignment. So you got to try something till it works, but you also can't panic change everything just because it's not working right now.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think that I would like a true assessment on how fans feel about Nebraska's coaching staff. And this isn't once again, do we know a lot about him? Like what is the fan opinion of EJ Barthel? What is the fan opinion of, like, Addison Williams is too new, Coach Braden's too new, Phil Simpson's too new, right? We know how the collective fan base feels about Dana Holgorsen, that they really like Dana and that they were, quick to it. But is that in comparison to what it was under Marcus Satterfield, or is that looking at Dana independently?
Is Nebraska a place that needs to hire this is going to come off with a negative connotation. I don't mean it that way. Is Nebraska a place that needs to hire the retread with the resume? Or does Nebraska
Isn't
need
that crazy?
to be the coaching incubator where Nebraska has the hotshot up and comer?
I don't think you can be right now.
But isn't that Matt Rule's thing? We need to find
Yes.
these coaches and develop them into that. They're not there.
How much credit? Okay, here's this. Tony White's going to get a job after this season, a head coaching job.
You and I have slight disagreements on where that job could be.
But he's going to get one.
Odds are good. Odds
Okay.
are good.
Especially if Florida State continues to win.
Mhm.
What I think that ultimately it's kind of crazy. Coaches, I'm just fascinated by the way that fans view coaches. I am, because the resume with the tread on the tires is a really interesting phrase. And I think that if you would have asked Husker fans when Matt Rule got here, the answer is, well, no, we don't need that. But now that you've had it, is that what you're falling in love with?
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, this isn't me asking listeners to rank your coaches. Hey, all right, who should be on the chopping block and who shouldn't be? But in all seriousness, like, we talk so much about the head coach and the coordinators. We've forgotten that Marcus Satterfield's still on the staff of a tight end room that has had a little bit of struggle with injuries, and Luke Lindemeyer's good, right? But now there's a lot of new faces too. How do fans feel about John Butler ultimately? I asked the question because we don't know. I think the consensus is still out on a lot of it, and a big part of whether or not you're successful as a coach is what we said earlier: who you put around yourself.
And this goes back to, just keep looping this conversation in. John Butler's a great example. He's been pretty good through his first 5 games as Nebraska's defensive coordinator. You know, Boston College, not a great offense, held him below 20 points. Held Cincinnati to 17 points, even with the weaknesses that Nebraska showed. That's not nothing. You pitched the first shutout since 2009. That's on the resume. You only give up a touchdown with your 2.5s against Houston Christian. But to me, the disruptive nature of John Butler, if he was, again, four games in a bowl game in, is far too early to judge. But if he was, a no doubt stud of a coordinator, why didn't this guy have a job as a defensive coordinator before? And I get it, he was coaching in the NFL. But you hold Michigan in the 20s, and your defense finds a way to get off the field and could give the offense, still, I think, the strength of Nebraska's team, a chance to win the game. That's not all on John Butler. A lot of it's on the players as well. But no one on Nebraska's coaching roster, and very few players for Nebraska, have hit their 90th percentile outcome.
Yeah.
At the same time or consistently. It's always been it's better than it's been. It's not the 50th percentile, but it's not hey, they really hit and everything went right. And that leaves Nebraska right where it's at.
We have Eric in Lincoln chimes in, says, who knew about Tony White when he was hired? I will push back on that one. A lot of people did, because if you look at what he did at Syracuse, he improved their defense like 85 or 90 spots from 2021 to 2022 and significantly improved. He was a Broyles Award finalist in 22. He was a Broyles Award finalist at Nebraska in 2023. So there was a lot of people, but I get your point, Eric and Lincoln, is that Matt Rule has shown an ability to identify good coaches, right? Like, I think, frankly, like I think Evan Cooper's fine too. Just there was some other stuff that happened, right? And ultimately, like, it's okay if Nebraska's people are freaking out. I got a text after our first segment talking about Oklahoma State, where I got a text from a friend that was like, I'm hearing Oklahoma State might be contacting Dana Holgorsen. Is that something to be worried about? If it is, great. That means usually that Nebraska's in a pretty good spot. People aren't poaching Tony White if Nebraska's defense sucks.
Right.
So,
and then what's the mark of a good program?
Your ability to replace and not take a step backwards. And that is why I think this year is so crucial for Rule. Next year's schedule is incredibly difficult. You have this is something I said off air, and I can now bring it to air. Is that you have to win enough this year to be able to handle and be able to take on a setback next year. Because looking at it from a 100% realist point of view, And I hope Nebraska shocks the crap out of me and they run the table next year. But taking it from a 100% realist example and point of view, you have to win enough this year to be able to withstand the pressures and the disappointments that are just inevitably going to come next year. If we're looking at this big picture, we have this from the text line. Horns Down says, "Pump the brakes, young bloods. A lot of season left to start judging the coaching." We're not calling for people's jobs. Nowhere in this conversation have Austin and I said, "Oh, this guy needs to be let go. Should this guy be let go? Give us your thoughts." It's more so of there's a lot of unknowns.
But are you telling me that 2.5 years is not enough time to judge EJ Barthel?
Yeah.
Is that what you're trying to tell me, that 2.5 years isn't enough to judge the job Donovan Raiola has done?
Bingo. I was going to say, well, and that's just under Matt Rule.
Right.
We forget that Donovan was the one carryover from the previous staff.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating conversation, and it's a perfect bye-week conversation because I think from the fans' perspective, there's a lot of soul-searching going on about what's going on at the program, and I think internally there should be a lot of soul-searching.
Which is kind of a funny spot to be for a team that's 3-1, where we all expected them to be. Hoping for 4-0, but 3-1 after your first 4 games, you're on pace. Again, you're not ahead of schedule. You're on schedule. Which is right where it seems.
And
like
that's a point Matt Rule made and I agree with him in this, is that through 4 games, there's been a lot of things that you need to clean up. But on the flip side of it, there's been a lot of things that have gone well too. Quarterback is one of them. One interception. Well, we came in, everybody clamoring into the beginning of the season. Got to improve the touchdown to interception ratio. 11-1 is not bad through 4 games, no matter who you play.
Absolutely. Nick Sainert, Austin Norman. We got Evan Blander at the Omaha World Herald after this.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
If one of the things running through your mind as a business owner is the recurring worry of possible cyber attacks, you can let out a sigh of relief. Hamilton Business Technologies has you covered. As the official business IT partner of the Huskers, we offer real-time threat monitoring, advanced security protocols, and more to keep your data safe from harm. We care about the success of Nebraska businesses and communities like yours. Learn how we can help you at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Experience an electric vehicle firsthand at LES's EV Ride and Drive, September 28th at the LES Operations Center. Registration is open now, but spots are limited. Visit les.com/drive to reserve your drive.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs and everything in between, coast to coast. We take on tough jobs with grit, integrity, and a strong commitment to safety. Empire is growing. And we're hiring motivated people ready to grow with us. We build each other up, and we're building something big. Think you've got what it takes? Apply now at empire-fence.com. That's empire-fence.com.
It's the best time of the year to order a new John Deere self-propelled windrower from Landmark Implement during the early order program. Hay harvest is a race against time. Order a new John Deere self-propelled windrower to harvest your hay quickly and efficiently while promoting quick dry down for quality hay. Now is the time to lock in the best price of the year. Contact your local Landmark location for full details on a new self-propelled windrower and experience the Landmark difference.
Yesterday, your water heater worked just fine. Today, surprise! When you're out of hot water, just call the plumbers at Bryant. In most cases, you can get same-day water heater replacement. What you won't get is a costly surprise with the bill. At Bryant, the price you're quoted is the price you'll pay. No last-minute extras for piping or ventilation alterations. Need a new water heater? Just call Bryant, 467-1111. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. We do whatever it takes.
Have you heard about Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center? Located at 7555 Pioneers Boulevard, Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center offers compassionate, patient-focused care and provides outpatient surgery services, making it possible to have non-emergency surgery and return home the same day. Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center specializes in cardiology, vascular radiology, orthopedics, pain management, and much, much more. Give them a call today at 402-261-1085 or online at amimaging.com.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Well, welcome back to it. It is Old School 93.7 Ticket, ticketfm.com. Big thanks to Nick Sainer hanging out with me for the first hour and a half or so of the show. We're headed to our Aloe Fiber VIP line, where we will be joined by Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald. Evan, a happy bye week to you, or are you using to get in some practice articles, or are you taking the week off to rest and recover?
No, it's not a bye week on this end. No, it's a little bit of look back, a little bit of first third of the season in review kind of stuff, and taking a peek ahead to Michigan State. So no bye week over here, just like you guys, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you said it right there. First third of the season. It's not late, but it's not early anymore. Only one conference game in the books, but a third of the season gone by. Nebraska football sits at 3-1. Evan, based on what you've seen through 4 games, you can go with the record, you can go with just how Nebraska's looked on the field. Do the 2025 Cornhuskers look like they're playing about to the level you expected they would be here at the start of year 3 under Matt Rule?
Yeah, I think so. I think the areas where they have shown improvement are areas that you generally could see how that would happen in the off season. Like, I think special teams has objectively been better, and that was an expectation based on what Mike Eckler did and a lot of the pieces that they brought in. People expected, I think, Dylan Raiola to have improved, and I think that's the case. I mean, he clearly looks like someone who's more of a veteran now in college football, comfortable making changes at the line and knowing what he's looking for in the defense. And I think the things that Nebraska's struggling with are things that were question marks, quite honestly. I mean, we've talked about the defensive line and how you replace the starters that they had last year, and it just didn't look like that next impact person was there. Not that they can't get better and figure it out, but like that was an area that I think you could have, and we did point to in the spring and the summer as a question. Same thing with running back depth, where you knew what you had in Emmett Johnson, but there were just a lot of unproven options behind him, and that remains the case too. So, my prediction before the year was 8-4. I think that was kind of the popular record probably, and I don't know that anything we've seen changes that necessarily. I mean, Michigan was viewed as a pick'em game by fans, by odds makers in Las Vegas and elsewhere too. So part of the mark of this team now in the next month is going to be, can you beat teams that you're going to be favored against? And I think they will be the favorites in at least half of the games coming up in October. And, you got to obviously continue to improve and evolve. But yeah, I think what we've seen from them to this point is things that we could have and oftentimes did foresee even just a month ago.
That's the point that Nick and I spent some time on a little earlier in the show. And I even mentioned something to that effect this morning. I'm glad you see it the same way. And it seems like this has been just the progression for Matt Rule, right? That we heard so much about. It doesn't seem like Nebraska's in for that huge jump in year 3 to double-digit wins. Of course, it's still on the table with 8 games remaining. But it seems like this is more the slow build, the grind of the process compared to maybe what Curt Cignetti did overnight at Indiana. And Nebraska, I agree, is playing like an 8-4 football team. But the direction that Nick and I went with that, Evan, is that we still sense some jealousy, not just from Nebraska, but people all across the country from, Indiana and what Curt Cignetti has done. Matt Rule and Curt Cignetti are not the same type of person. And I think Husker fans need to realize, that, just because it worked at Indiana doesn't mean it would for sure work at Nebraska. But also I can kind of sympathize with Husker fans, when they look over to Bloomington and see those immediate signs of success. Why can't that be us? Not saying Matt Rule can't get there, but he hasn't yet. And I can understand Husker fans maybe feeling a little jilted about not having, their chance to start 4-0 and beat Michigan, similar to what Indiana did in beating Michigan last year.
Yeah, and certainly those emotions are going to be accentuated this week when you have an extra few days to chew on what just happened against Michigan, because I think a lot of fans thought and hoped and that it would be sort of the Nebraska Arrives game against Michigan. You had the big window, national TV slot, Bud Crawford's in the house, the long losing streak to top 25 teams was on the line. It just felt like, man, if you're going to announce yourself that you're here and it's year 3 and Matt Rule and Nebraska is going to take off, like that was going to be the stage to do it on. And so I think there's a little bit of extra disappointment this week. And then, yeah, you start to have a little bit of a wandering eye and you look around and you see what Indiana's done and Kurt Signetti. And, I think based on what they just did against Illinois, they might actually have a better team this year than they did a year ago, which is incredibly impressive for a program that has very little football history to speak of. And it's not just Indiana too. Like I've been thinking over the years, like how many other teams in the Big Ten have popped up and had at least that one memorable season, right? I mean, Purdue played for a Big Ten championship a few years ago. Northwestern was a West Division champ not all that long ago. You can kind of just go down the line.
Minnesota,
yeah. Illinois has had its time in the sun, and like Nebraska, for all of its resources and passion and the things around football being in place, like it just hasn't popped in that big season that ends with a New Year's Day bowl game or being in the CFP conversation now. And so like, I think that's probably the most frustrating thing. And you look around college football every week, there's a top 25 upset and you're seeing fans storm the field somewhere. And you just kind of, you can get a little lonely probably and just be like, why can't that happen here once or twice? Like sports are supposed to be an outlet. At their best, they're one of those things where you say, I remember where I was when this happened or that happened. And it's just been, those moments have been very few and far between for Nebraska football. Last Saturday had the opportunity to be one. It didn't happen. And so now you're kind of left building back up again. You need to have a nice month of October, and maybe that would set the stage for another possibly ranked matchup with USC in early November. So like you're kind of having to take a step back, take a little bit of a longer view. And it's definitely frustrating when you're seeing other schools achieve it quicker.
Well, and then when you talk about the company that you're keeping, Rutgers isn't exactly the fan base that Nebraska fans want to go hang out with and have a beer. That's not the shoulder that Husker fans are looking to cry on necessarily. And that's not to minimize the job that Greg Schiano has done in bringing some level of respect back to that program. But at some point, there needs to be a shock to the system. Maybe Matt Rule's done that and it's just taking some time to bear out. But, it's the cycle's still the same for Nebraska. And that's the, $70 million question or whatever that Matt Rule has to answer. Let's talk about that schedule, Evan. Here at the first bye week, 4 games down for Nebraska. They'll play 6 more before they get their second bye week of the year between the road trip out to UCLA and the road trip out to Happy Valley. For Nebraska to continue to be on schedule in year 3 under Matt Rule, what do you think Nebraska's record needs to be over these next 6 games beginning a week from Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of almost look at it in just the month of October to start with, where you've got Michigan State and then you go to Maryland and Minnesota on the Friday night and Northwestern. Like that's a stretch to me where you got to go 3-1, I think, in that window there. And Nebraska's had struggles at Minnesota through the years, and their style, Minnesota's style, has often just given them fits. But even if you were to lose that game on a Friday night, I think those other 3 games, you're probably going to be favored or believe that you should win. USC coming to town will be a little tough. And then you mentioned UCLA, like who knows what that team's going to be in early to mid-November. So like, I think, 4-2 is probably a realistic expectation for that. But like, again, I kind of see USC as that next big chance for Nebraska to show that it's taken a step and can be relevant nationally. And like, to do that, you got to win some of these games against teams that are, in terms of success, they're your peers right now. I know Nebraska fans don't want to hear that, Michigan State and Maryland are kind of, they're equals right now, but that's sort of the case. And so you're still waiting for that big win over a ranked team. But in the meantime, you got to take care of business. And maybe that's the next step for this program, is to show that you do belong in that upper middle class of the Big Ten. And to do that, you need to take care of some of these games. Michigan State has quite a few flaws. Maryland, yeah, they went to Wisconsin and won. I think that says more about the Badgers than it does the Terps. Northwestern, they may be looking for a new coach next year, potentially. So, like, you got to go in there as the more established, well-resourced team and take care of business. That's what I'm looking for in this next month, is if Nebraska wants to show that it can be nationally relevant and deserves consideration about being in the top 25, these are the games you got to take care of.
I think I like what you said about USC coming home. It's going to be that next opportunity. Of course, the blackout there and probably a night game on November 1st. But for me, Evan, I would still see a sign of growth in the program if they go to Minnesota and win. To me, it would be kind of that next step, the next logical step after getting off the schneid against Wisconsin. I mean, there's no reason that series should have gone that heavily in Wisconsin's favor for that long, with all the chances that Nebraska had throughout the years to put an end to that losing streak sooner. But PJ Fleck has owned Nebraska. It's a short week. It's on the road. And Minnesota's no pushover. They're no slouch. Like, even if it was the 2020 COVID Gophers that Nebraska was playing, you still worry about the PJ Fleck voodoo and what have you. But as big as USC could and should be on November the 1st, I still think it's a sign of growth, a step in the right direction for the program to handle back-to-back road trips on a short week against a team that owns you and find a way to win that game. It wouldn't be as meaningful, but I think for all the Husker fans that just gotten annoyed by Minnesota, given their style of play and everything you mentioned, I think that's the next big test for Nebraska. How do they handle that? If they can win that one, that to me is a step in the right direction.
No, I agree. The thing about the Minnesota game, and I thought this before the season too, it's an interesting game because from a national perspective, it's not going to move the needle that much. If you're a casual college football fan and you see Nebraska beating Minnesota, you're going to move on to the next score. Like, that's just not going to grab your attention the way that beating a Michigan or USC would. But I agree. Like, if you're locked in on Nebraska and what this program can do to show some tangible signs of progress, then that Minnesota game is one of your top 3 or 4 most interesting games of the year, in my opinion, because of the track record, because their style of play has been one that's given Nebraska fits. I think that's a team that you prefer to play earlier in the season than later. They tend to figure themselves out and get comfortable in kind of their time of possession controlling style, where they're going to run it at you. And certainly with the state of what Nebraska is in right now, with questions on the defensive line, like, you can bet Minnesota's looking at that Michigan tape and saying, we're gonna try that. Let's compress the formation and pound it up the middle and see if we can break a few long ones the way that Michigan did. So yes, from a more of a local view almost, or just within the program, that would be an important win. That's a team that you need to get past if you want to be nationally relevant. You kind of talk about like leveling up if you're playing a video game or something. Mm-hmm. Like that's the boss that you face before you face the bigger boss. And so I think internally, certainly that's when you want to prove that you can win before you start attacking some of these national brands.
The issues for Nebraska through 4 games have been the rush defense and the rush offense. Over the course of the next, we'll just take that 6-game window, which do you have more confidence in improving? Nebraska's running game on offense or Nebraska's ability to stop the run on defense?
I think the rushing attack offensively isn't in as dire a straits as it appears. I think the Michigan defensive front 7 is incredibly impressive. It might be the toughest that Nebraska faces this year. That's an old O-line that the Huskers have. I think the interior is certainly solid, and you're going to have to figure it out at tackle, whether that's Elijah Pritchett or Gunnar Gatula's back there. But as long as Emmett Johnson stays healthy, I think they find a way to be serviceable enough there. I'm not saying they're going to be a great rushing team, but I think you can do enough with Emmett Johnson with those upperclassmen blockers. I think you can get creative in how you rush. Maybe that's statistically a pass, but it could be a screen or a little sweep or something like that. I think you can get creative in that way. The other side of it, though, to me is the bigger question, where, again, how many Big Ten offensive coordinators are going to be watching that Michigan film and saying, we're going to try that. And so Nebraska is going to see a ton of power runs until they can prove that they can stop it. And so, maybe they'll show that against Michigan State, maybe, and which, by the way, has a mobile quarterback in Aiden Childs. Maybe that's, something that they're going to have to work through. But from Nebraska's perspective, your personnel is what it is. You can maybe tweak your rotations a little bit, but I think schematically, you're just going to have to figure out, are we going to be a team that defends the run straight up? Are we going to stunt our linemen? Are we going to, try to confuse the offense a little bit more? I think that's something, to me, I'll be really curious how they work through that in the bye week and what that looks like against Michigan State.
Evan, our throngs of fans would not let me allow you to leave Old School without an update on Nebraska baseball, obviously in the throes of fall baseball. A lot going on in the recruiting realm. A couple of pitchers added to the 2026 class. What can you tell us about the arms Nebraska added for next year?
Yeah, they've been busy. A couple junior college additions. Keston Holman is one. He's a guy who had a lot of looks, from other programs in the region, certainly. And they've been busy too with the 27s. They had their first two class of 2027 kids commit here in the last few days. And, it's a little bit more of a delayed satisfaction with baseball recruiting. Like you talk about 27, these are kids who will be freshmen for the 28 season. So you're a little ways away there. But, I'm always curious when I talk to those guys, like who else is interested in them. And you had some notable other schools that were after them. This Braden Shannon is a long-term shortstop prospect who was getting looks from Oregon and some other schools. So, they're working at it. I think the Michigan football weekend was a big recruiting weekend for Nebraska baseball. I think they had 5 or 6 guys in just to check out the campus and the facilities and things. Now they've already gotten at least one commitment out of that. So we'll see if that bears a little bit more fruit here in the coming days and weeks, but they're certainly staying busy with it. And I think more than anything, you're seeing a focus on pitching. You're seeing a few bats as well, but really a heavy emphasis on arms and finding some depth there, guys who can throw strikes. And the Huskers feel like they're doing that with a mix of guys who've maybe proven it at the junior college level, and then guys who have the stuff, and maybe they just need to unlock their command a bit more.
There you have it, Husker football and Husker baseball insight from Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald. Evan, have a great rest of your not so relaxing bye week as it is around these parts this time of year. We'll see you around here at some press conferences in the near future.
Thanks, Austin. See ya.
Evan joined us on our Allo Fiber VIP line. Allo's where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. We also want to let you know that this segment was brought to you by Heartland of Nebraska Windows. They're based out of Hallam, Nebraska, and they offer a free estimate, full window replacements, all vinyl triple pane windows, and a lifetime warranty on everything while keeping their prices affordable. Heartland of Nebraska Windows is locally and family owned with their own team of installers. Give Heartland of Nebraska Windows a call today for more information at 402-430-3852. Or you can visit them online at heartlandofnebraskawindows.com. Short segment to wrap up hour 2 of Old School. Hour 3 is all about you. What's on your mind? Let me know on our Sutter Heyman Jewelers text line 402-464-5685. Eric in Lincoln in 3581. We will get to your text. If not to end up this hour, that's how we'll lead off the 5 o'clock hour of Old School.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Load up on meat and more this spring at The Mercado by Certified Piedmontese with great selections of T-bones, tomahawks, ribeyes, filet mignon, brisket, sirloin, and so much more. The Mercado has locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, where you can have $2 draft beer every Thursday night from 4 to 8 p.m. and half-price espresso drinks on Fridays from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services is here to help you protect things that are most important to you. Whether it's your home, your family, or your future, Jack Russell has the proven experience to get the job done while developing authentic relationships with you. Give Jack a call today at 402-421-9100. Again, that's 402-421-9100. Or visit one of his 2 locations in Lincoln or Seward and learn how you can excel in the complicated world of insurance. Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, a trusted and well-respected representative since 1999.
Have you heard about Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center? Located at 7555 Pioneers Boulevard, Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center offers compassionate, patient-focused care and provides outpatient surgery services, making it possible to have non-emergency surgery and return home the same day. Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center specializes in cardiology, vascular radiology, orthopedics, pain management, and much, much more. Give them a call today at 402-261-1085 or online at amimaging.com.
Big news, Nebraska. Love Omaha is now Love Nebraska. This is more than just a new name. It's a tribute to what Nebraska represents in the world of volleyball. It's still the same team with the same mission, led by players you know and love. Now backed by a new ownership group led by Jordan Larson. As Love Nebraska, they're entering an exciting new chapter, pushing for a championship title in 2026 and building new opportunities for the next generation of players across the state. They want you with them. Let's show the world how Nebraska plays volleyball. Join the movement at lovneb.com and sign up to become a Love Nebraska Insider today.
This is your year, where your team takes it all the way. Win way more than bragging rights at Warhorse Casino, where your love of the game could put $1 million in your pocket. The Pro Football Frenzy is free to play with prizes all season long. Weekly cash prizes up to $1,000 cash, season-long leaderboards, and a chance to win $1 million. Only at Warhorse Casino. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
Your business runs like a well-oiled machine. It's important that your actual machines do, too. Stern is here to make sure you don't have to worry about that. They provide solutions for heavy equipment and automotive fuels, lubricants, and equipment guard options. And with Stern's commitment to customer service for the past 40 years, you know you have a partner to help support your operations for years to come. Contact Roger at Stern Company by calling 1-800-477-2744 or visit them online at stern.co. Stern Company, where problems meet solvers.
Are you tired of living in pain? At Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, they make it simple. From head to toe, spine to extremities, they've got you covered. Their multi-specialty team of experts in orthopedic surgery, plastic surgery, podiatry, physical therapy, and occupational therapy all work under one roof to get you back to living life pain-free. Don't wait another day. Visit prairie-ortho.com today or call them at 402-489-4700. Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, where healing begins.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today. A few sprinkles are possible this afternoon. Otherwise, we'll see partly sunny skies with a light breeze and the high near 76. Tonight, mainly clear skies and calm winds, the low around 55. And tomorrow, lots of sunshine with light winds and an ashing high near 80. I'm meteorologist Kyle Hutton for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Ticket listeners know a dream team when they see one. At Applied Connective, we've been in the game for 20 years and have developed a team of world-class leaders in all things IT. From cybersecurity and Microsoft products to physical security, audio-video, infrastructure, business phone systems, and anything in between, we'll help you leverage technology to become your most secure, efficient, and profitable. Head to our website to check out real reviews and testimonials and sign up for a free tech consultation. We can show you where you might be vulnerable, inefficient, or overspending. It's a game changer, and it's totally free. Claim yours right now at appliedconnective.com.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs and everything in between, coast to coast. We take on tough jobs with grit, integrity, and a strong commitment to safety. Empire is growing, and we're hiring motivated people ready to grow with us. We build each other up, and we're building something big. Think you've got what it takes? Apply now at empire-fence.com. That's empire-fence.com.
Tired of asking what's for dinner? Nourished for Life has got you covered. At Nourished, they're a local meal prep company that delivers fresh, chef-crafted, healthy meals straight to your door. Made from wholesome ingredients and ready when you are. No shopping, no chopping. Just heat, eat, and enjoy every night of the week. Fuel your busy days with balanced meals that are designed to keep you satisfied and energized. Visit nourishedforlife.co to purchase meals and taste the convenience of home-cooked comfort without the hassle.
Hey there, this is Paul Scheel, owner of High Electric. I want to thank our friends and loyal customers and introduce High Electric to those looking for a new electrician. We've been serving the Lincoln and Omaha area for over 30 years, From design to install, upgrades, and repair, if you are a homeowner or a small business needing some electrical work, call us at 402-466-6606 or check us out at hyelectric.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
When it comes to concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction doesn't stall. They go for the takedown. As Nebraska's full-service concrete contractor, they stay in bounds, hold inside position, and never forfeit quality. Whether it's foundations, flatwork, or concrete coatings, they elevate performance and pin down results that win every time. Stevens & Smith Construction is a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket. Because when it's time to wrestle with concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction slams expectations.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back in. It is Old School, wrapping up hour 2 of the show. Still lots to go. Going to be a jam-packed final hour of the show. If you're driving by 1040 O Street, hit us with a WhatsApp, hit us with a wave. Would love to see you. Would love to hear from you. Sutter Heyman Jewelers text line or Honda of Lincoln hotline. Same number available for you, 402-464-5685. One text to get to here from 5029. Indiana is the new Boise State. Ooh, boy. Can you be the new Boise State when you're in a power conference? I think I get what you're trying to say, but man, Indiana is a Big Ten team. You know, when we talk about the lack of resources at Indiana, that's lack of resources relative to their peers, relative to their neighbors, relative to the Big Ten, the SEC, and maybe some upper level ACC and Big 12 schools. Indiana should, you know, there's always going to be the good and bad teams in every conference, in every sport. There are teams that have, there are teams that have not. Boise State, what the Broncos did, the run that they had under Chris Peterson going there for a while, I mean, that what they did was incredible. I mean, knocking off those power conference teams without the resources, just good old-fashioned spit, grit, and determination. So I hesitate to say that Indiana is the next Boise State just because they're a power conference team. What I am curious to see is if there's a different school that can become the next Boise State. It's been kind of a rotating door. Boise gets the spot last year with a generational guy in Genty. Tulane beats USC a few years ago. They're on the up and up. Looked like it could have been Louisiana, but App State has fallen off. There's really not that major power player in Group of 5 football right now. Memphis, maybe. Liberty, not what it was. Obviously getting boat raced by Oregon in a major bowl not that long ago. If you had to ask me to pick, I think Memphis probably has the best shot to build something sustainable right now. But then there's the Memphis of it all, and it remains to be seen. So, no, I don't think Indiana is ultimately the new Boise State. I wonder if we do end up seeing a new Boise State, a team that's able to consistently carve out a role in the college football playoff, become a character that we all get used to knowing and loving and rooting for in an upset, or if that's going to continue to be that kind of rotating cast of characters. That'll put a bow on hour 2 of Old School. When we get back, more of your text, 402-464-5685, 3581, Eric and Lincoln, Old Dad 34. We'll get to you leading off the 5 o'clock hour.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC. This month kicks off Koppel's 50th anniversary sale. We're celebrating 50 years by offering an additional $500 discount to the next 100 customers that buy a new vehicle. This is in addition to the huge savings already in place. You can take an extra $500 off our discounted price, or we can cut you a check on the spot. Celebrate with savings and see why customers have trusted Koppel since 1975. It's our way of saying thank you for all these years.
Ticket listeners know a dream team when they see one. At Applied Connective, we've been in the game for 20 years and have developed a team of world-class leaders in all things IT, from cybersecurity and Microsoft products to physical security, audio, video, infrastructure, business phone systems, and anything in between. We'll help you leverage technology to become your most secure, efficient, and profitable. Head to our website to check out real reviews and testimonials and sign up for a free tech consultation. We can show you where you might be vulnerable, inefficient, or overspending. It's a game changer, and it's totally free. Claim yours right now at appliedconnective.com.
Mike, the insurance company wants us to replace the roof.
Wait, what? I thought everything was fine.
Yeah, it says right here our roof is too old and they won't be able to cover us anymore.
I guess it is 15 years old. Hi, I'm Austin with Roofing Service Company. We help homeowners with their roofing and siding projects. Financing options are available, and we can get you under a new roof no time at all. If this sounds like you, visit roofingservicecompany.com. That is roofingservicecompany.com.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
This is Rick Heyman with Sartor Heyman Jewelers. Sartor Heyman is celebrating 120 years, and you could win big. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram for your chance to win a $120 gift certificate every week. That's right, we're giving away $120 every week as a thank you for being part of our story. Don't miss your chance to treat yourself. Follow Sartor Heyman Jewelers today. Celebrating 120 years. Sartor Heyman, when only the best will do.
Ready to upgrade your harvest lineup? Right now at Landmark Implement, get up to a 36-month waiver on select John Deere combines. That's 3 full years with no interest, giving you the flexibility to put the reliability of John Deere to work on your farm. Our team is here to keep your operation running strong with the latest technology, unmatched parts and service support, and the reliability of John Deere equipment. Visit your local Landmark Implement today or check us out at landmarkimp.com and experience the Landmark difference.
At Fairway Meat Market, you're family, and as part of the family, they want to save you money on your meat and groceries. Now through September 28th, enjoy an 8-ounce USDA Choice New York strip for $7.98 each. All natural whole pork butt, $1.78 per pound. Boar's Head Deli Turkey, all varieties, $11.99 per pound. And Bush Light 30 racks for $18.99. That's all at Fairway Meat Market in the Rockledge Square Shopping Center, just south of 84th and Van Dorn.
Sometimes good people make mistakes. When you find yourself in need of an attorney, call Liberty Law Group. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group will defend you in court and protect your freedom to get you the best possible outcome and the justice you deserve. Trust your freedom to Liberty Law Group, the best criminal attorneys in Nebraska and Iowa. Call them today at 877-404-5238. That's 877-404-5238. Or check them out online at libertylawgroup.com.
Experience an electric vehicle firsthand at LES's EV Ride and Drive, September 28th at the LES Operations Center. Registration is open now, but spots are limited. Visit les.com/drive to reserve your drive.
Ready to score big with your projects? Look no further than Edward Stone, the MVP of natural stone for over 2 decades. Edward Stone is cranking out over 30,000 square feet every week and offers a winning lineup of over 70 quality natural veneer stone selections. Their unbeatable variety and experienced team will ensure your project is a success, whether it's a home renovation or a commercial build. And hey, they're not just about stone. They've got an all-star lineup of fireplaces, cast stone, brick, and much more. Swing by one of their locations in Lincoln or Omaha today and experience the Edward Stone difference, your reliable choice for over 20 years.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Old School, sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hour 3 of Old School comes your way here, 93.7 Ticket, ticketfm.com. No Foreman, just Orman. That's all right. Jay will be back in the saddle tomorrow. Looking forward to having him back and talking about everything that's gone down in the wide world of sports over the last couple days. Looking ahead to a pretty important weekend of football, even though Nebraska will not be taking the field. 3-1 Nebraska off until they take on Michigan State. Husker volleyball in action coming up here pretty soon. We'll tell you more about some news out of the Big Ten, get you set up for Nebraska's conference opener against Michigan. But first, 402-464-5685. We got business to get to on our Sartor Heyman Jewelers text line. 3581. Recruiting has to move the dial for Nebraska. Absolutely. Recruiting is the lifeblood of every program. Not just recruiting 5 stars everywhere, not just getting the 4 stars you can get your hands on, and not just relying on your developmental process to turn every 3-star you get into a contributor. It's a mix of all of it. That's where, Nebraska needs the role guys to continue to step up and play their roles. Identify who they want in their culture setters, their role guys. That's kind of something that Rich Lovett and I talked about yesterday on Takedown Tuesday in the second segment of the show. Is Ridge was talking about, obviously the wrestling roster is smaller, but all the guys that get brought in just to compete, that aren't promised a spot in the starting lineup, that are a good enough wrestler to get noticed by Nebraska, but might never see the mat in an actual duel or meet for Nebraska. Mark Manning doesn't just go get guys to fill out the roster. He gets guys for purpose. Guys that he believes, with the right opportunity, with the right breaks, could crack the starting lineup, but if not, they have their head screwed on straight. They're going to be about Nebraska wrestling. They're going to be there to get the starters better. Not saying Nebraska football is not doing that. That just needs to always be front of mind for Nebraska. You can't just chase talent, but you also can't give up on chasing talent just because you haven't gotten it yet. Not every player you get on your roster is going to develop into a starter or even onto the 2D. But if that's the case, because that's the case, in fact, can you still go get guys that are going to push your top players, that are legitimate threats, that, hey, if you're not playing well, if you're not living up to the standard that we've set, we got someone else here that we like, that's earned their moment. Starters, you got to go out and earn it too. I talked about this with Brian Munson on Monday. Please go back and check out that conversation that Brian and I had, because I don't want to spend a whole lot of time relitigating it, because there's a big part of me that wants to believe Nebraska's players generally are good enough. Nebraska's skill core seems upgraded over the last 5 years. Quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight end, maybe a slight step down as a whole, but that's more a testament to how good the tight end rooms have been, more so than a knock on this current group. Offensive line seems better, certainly not elite anywhere. The best unit on Nebraska's team is probably the secondary, and that's a tough way to make a living in the Big Ten, but they've made it work so far. I think Nebraska is recruiting well enough generally. Again, you keep losing by 1 score in a lot of these games. Tells you it shouldn't be a talent thing, but maybe it is. Maybe if Nebraska had 1 or 2 players on either side of the ball that could say, nope, coach, give me the ball, I'm making a play, and then actually go make the play, maybe it is a talent thing. It's not chicken or the egg, it's chicken and the egg. Nebraska hasn't had either as consistently as it's needed them. So sure, coaching can always be better. Sure, players can always be better. And recruiting can always be better. But how do you get better recruiting? Number one, you strike gold. That's not what you want to rely on. So then if you're not going to strike gold, or you can't rely on striking gold, you got to do it the old-fashioned way and keep digging until you do. That's the development, right? That's clearing the path for the guys that can actually play a role and make a difference in games. Drumstick on the Sartor Heyman Jewelers text line. Why has Carter Nelson been MIA? He's been such a massive mismatch, throw the ball up, and he can battle for it. A big part of Carter Nelson's lack of availability has been the offseason surgeries that he had. Dana Holgerson talked about this a couple weeks ago, saying Carter Nelson really was just now getting up to full speed. And, I wonder if fans are higher on him than Nebraska's OC, right? Dana Holgerson didn't really use Carter Nelson a lot on offense when he came in last year. From the outside, we see a role for him. There's got to be a role for him on this football team, because I think he's a better receiver right now than Heinrich Harburg is. I don't know if Harburg's a better or worse blocker, but I think Nelson is a more natural, truer tight end. Not giving up on Heinrich Harburg through 4 games and then the bowl game at the end of last year, so 5 games at the position. Just haven't been impressed. And you know what? You tried something. It didn't work. Keep giving the young man reps and opportunities. But Nebraska's offense, at least to me so far, has functioned best when Luke Lindenmeyer is in the game. And I think Carter Nelson would be better at the role they're asking Heinrich Harburg to play. But that's just my 2 cents. So we'll move on from that. We have A couple on the defensive line coach. Jeremy and Lincoln. Do we need Nebraska to hire a big-name defensive line coach to revamp the defensive line? No, you shouldn't. But let's not underrate the brain drain that Nebraska's had from that position recently. Tony Tuioti was really good. He's doing a fantastic job at Oregon. Top 10 program in the country right now. Last year's number 1 seed in the college football playoff. That was a loss. Tony Tuioti was good. Terrence Knighton was good. Absolutely. That was a loss with him going to Florida State. I think Terry Braden's a good hire, but it's also, I believe, his first time coaching defensive line in college. Please correct me if I'm mistaken. Either way, he hasn't been around much. The selling point for him is that he's been around the NFL. Oh, he was with Chris Jones. Oh, he was with George Karlaftis. He was an assistant defensive line coach up there. Could be good. Seems energetic. Like him, but it's year 1. He's 4 games into being a college coach with a bunch of players that are generally unproven and untested. High expectations for the defensive line, to me, came from Riley Van Poppel taking a step forward, Williams Nawarni being everything he promised and more, and Keona Davis transforming into that full-time game wrecker that he showed spurts of being last year. That hasn't happened. How much of it is on Terry Braden? How much of it is on those players? It's up to them to know and decide. But it does have to get better. And then 0739, Nebraska needs to spend more money on defensive line players and rev sharing your NIL. Much easier said than done, my friend. Much, much easier said than done. Just like in the NFL, the positions that are going to cost the most money, quarterback, obviously, left tackle to protect the quarterback, and then an edge rusher. Football's football. I get it. There are your differences between the NFL and college football, but the most expensive, most important positions are the same. You know, maybe corners go for a little bit more in the NFL, given the nature of that game, but I think that's about to come back to earth with the way things are headed. So the 3 that are always going to be stable money earners are going to be the quarterback, the offensive tackle, specifically left tackle, and the defensive line. Nebraska's had success in the past developing some of those guys. Nebraska also got really good recruits, right? Think about that 95 team that was just honored. Really interesting mix of relatively high-profile scholarship guys and walk-ons that grinded their way up. It's got to be a mix. It has to for Nebraska, because if all you're going to do is pay for these guys, that's not ideal. You would like to be able to spread that money around. And here's the thing. If Nebraska is one piece away, one piece, right? If Nebraska is just a left tackle away from having a complete offense, or if Nebraska is just one edge rusher away from, fielding a top 10 pass defense and a top 10 rush defense, right? A true 3-down defensive end. If Nebraska feels it's there, it needs to go pay. It would be malfeasance. It would be mismanagement to not go get the guy that you believe would be the difference maker to elevate your unit. But if you're 2 or 3 pieces away, it's a harder sell. It's harder to have that conversation. Well, yeah, we need a left tackle, and that's really important. Yeah, we could really use a defensive end to get after the quarterback. But man, I mean, our linebacker core is pretty thin, and we're looking in the portal for potentially a backup running back, maybe a guy to challenge Emmett, maybe a guy to get true 2 carries. And, we could always use an interior offensive lineman. And, here's a young quarterback we like. We got to keep that room stocked, so we'll pay him to transfer in, sit and learn for a few years. Nebraska is not just one piece away at an offensive tackle on the defensive line. So until they are one piece away, you got to recruit better. You got to develop better. Buzzwords, I know. Nebulous, I know. Difficult, maybe, for the first time, defensive line coach in college, Terry Braden, who I think is fine, but can Nebraska get better? Probably. Could Nebraska get worse? Almost assuredly. Same sort of thing on the offensive line. 1508 says, Donovan Raiola as the offensive line coach has never really had a good group. He should be on the hot seat after the amount of time he's had here and not ever amounting to anything. I'll push back. I know the last time we saw Nebraska's offensive line, it was against Michigan, allowing 7 sacks, rushing for, I know, less than 4, maybe even less than 3 yards per carry. That's not good. It was a wretched performance. Here's the thing. This Nebraska offensive line, I believe across the board, is better and more consistent in terms of talent. And I'm not trying to say it's elite. I think just like with Matt Rule's programs, it's been a slow build on the offensive line for Donovan Raiola, who's back in college after some time in the NFL. And of course, the last name plays into it, right? It shouldn't be everything. It can't be everything. You got to have the cojones to make the movie feel as necessary. But I'm not convinced that Donovan Raiola is the problem. Is he a true difference maker? Seems like he's more a floor raiser than a ceiling raiser for that unit right now. But I don't think he's a problem. He's fine. JP, how many years is a slow build? As many years as it takes, which is going to sound like a cop-out, so don't just jump down my throat for that. There's a lot of talk about the year 3 for Matt Rule. And again, I don't want this conversation to be me telling you how to be a fan. Feel how you feel. Believe what you believe. Nick and I spent a fantastic first hour and first part of the second hour talking about that very thing. But think about where Nebraska has come from. I'm not saying in the last 30 years. I'm saying in the last 15 years. You change conferences. You fire your most successful head coach of the 2000s. Sorry, Frank Solich. I know you played for a national championship game and won an Alamo Bowl. And it probably wasn't your fault you were fired. But, hard to argue with Bo's 7-8 years in charge. So you switch conferences. You fire your most successful coach. You go through 3 identity crises. Nebraska's been through the ringer. And as Nick and I discussed, it's not new to college football. Nebraska's not alone in that. Nebraska's issues aren't unique. But from where I sit right here, as long as Nebraska continues to get better, and here's the thing, progress isn't linear. Nick talked about how hard the schedule gets next year. That's why it's important for Nebraska to win as many games this year as possible to buy some goodwill. But, Nebraska just has been so forgettable. Sometimes bad, sometimes close, other times just kind of floating out there in the college football nebula and void that, I'm not going to put a timetable on Matt Rule. Sure, there are times, that you would like to see Nebraska have gotten to a point faster. You feel like you would like to believe that Nebraska is ahead of schedule here, or maybe it's behind schedule there, and why are they still behind schedule? I'm not going to tell you how to feel if you think Nebraska's offensive line is behind schedule. No, it's not elite. Did you expect an elite offensive line within 3 years? Maybe it's fair to expect, maybe it's not. But I think across the board, they're generally better, not perfect. And that goes for pretty much the entirety of the roster. If it takes Nebraska another 5 years to get to the college football playoff, that's not ideal, right? If you're in year 8 towards the initial end of Matt Rule's contract at Nebraska and you still haven't qualified for the college football playoff, yeah, that's probably a problem. But let's say that Nebraska gets to the 8-4 mark, that Evan Bland and I are in agreement that seems realistic for Nebraska. Okay, then they go 9-3, 10-2. The next year after that, but they don't beat anyone of record and they don't get into the playoff. Okay, then they get back down to 8-4 with a tougher schedule. Then it's 9-3 and they're always on the periphery. Nebraska, to me, the next step for this Nebraska program is not college football playoff. To me, the next step for this Nebraska football program is win your 8, get back to the Bo Pelini level, win your 8 or 9 games, do that except without getting embarrassed, and hopefully steal a game or 2 like that. Because for so long, with as mediocre and bad as Nebraska has been, I need to see that the floor and the foundation are stable, that you can bank 7 wins a year and you're shooting for 9 or 10. But until Nebraska has proven that, yeah, it's got 7 games in the bag, and then you got, 3 coin flips and 2 really tough ones, the next step for me for Nebraska is get to that position. Okay, and then over a 5-year sample, you've won 40 to 45 games. Okay, over the next 5 years, how do you push the 40 to 45 wins into the 50 to 55 wins? And I know that's probably not what fans want to hear. I get it. But is the purpose of Nebraska football and athletics and programs to get good now, is sell your soul to do it, and then go through the cycle of, we're good once we pay for players. We did it once, but we might strike out. Is it, a program that builds for 2 years, kind of the Northwestern basketball model, We're going to recruit. We're going to develop. We'll take our lumps for 2 years. Year 3, we'll show some promise and have a little bit of a breakthrough. And then year 4, we got to capitalize because we're starting the system over from scratch again. I don't know. I'm not sure what it is Matt Rule's looking to do, but I think it's more the latter. He wants to build something sustainable where, Iowa's the easy cop-out comparison. What Minnesota's done is on the table. Shoot, Oklahoma State, what they did making 18 straight bowl games. Nebraska's got to get back to that, to where the bowl game is the bare minimum every year. You handle business in the non-conference. You beat the teams you quote-unquote should beat. And then you find yourself with 3 games on the schedule that determine how your season goes. Is Black Friday always meaningful? And to what level of meaning does that game rise? When you get your formerly crossover games against Ohio State and Penn State, are you getting blown out by them? Does it feel like you go in with no chance? Are you competing? Are you pulling the upset that you haven't pulled yet? When you're on the same footing as Michigan, as Illinois, as Indiana, are you winning those games 50% of the time? That's what's fair, is that you win 50% of the time in those big games. 85-43, your expectations sound like what Iowa fans expect. We should strive for more. Absolutely. I'm not saying that's the end goal. I'm saying it's the next step, right? I'm not saying all Nebraska is ever going to be able to accomplish is 8-4 and be happy with it. I'm not saying 10-2 will be a miracle year. I'm saying the same thing for this football program as I am for men's basketball, which we need to have more Nebraska men's basketball conversations. But I'm beginning to feel some sort of way with Nebraska men's basketball that there is a floor level of this team is not going to go out there and get embarrassed. They're going to compete. They're going to be in some sort of postseason contention year after year. And you hope for their sake they can put it all together and make the NCAA tournament. Guess what? Might not happen every year. In a college football playoff world where there's 12 teams now, where there's 16, new groups are being put together to explore 24. Yes, Nebraska needs to be able to be a consistent top 25 program. And then when you feel like, we're in the top 25, we stayed there all year. Maybe we dipped because someone else had a great week. And then, we got back in the next week after they faded and they lost. Then you get up to, okay, we're in the top 25 consistently. What are the top 15 programs doing to where we feel good about Nebraska's chances to earn a wild card berth potentially, or an at-large berth into the college football playoff? Then you get to top 15. And again, I'm not trying to put a timeline on it. If this doesn't happen by X year, to failure. If this happens by this year, okay, they're on pace. I don't know what that looks like. I'm just saying big picture generally. So then Drew Carr will wrap up with you. Devil's advocate, tell me how Indiana has done it then. I don't know. I don't know if you were listening before, Drew. Nick and I talked a lot about Indiana, the success that Curt Cignetti has had. And Nick and I landed on that we think a lot of Nebraska fans' frustrations about the loss to Michigan and about just kind of the general state of the program is that Nebraska hasn't had that meteoric rise. Why is it happening for Indiana and not for us? I can give my opinion. I can give my take. I certainly did. And I want you to listen back to the first hour or two of the show. Number one, I don't think that's how Matt Rule's wired. Number two, I don't think that is how Nebraska has hired, right outside of Scott Frost, trying to catch that lightning in the bottle and ride that wave. So I don't know everything that's gone on behind the scenes at Indiana. How is Indiana built into that program? You'd have to ask them. You have to talk to Curt Cignetti. You'd have to talk to Scott Dolson. You'd have to talk to his assistant coaches and his players. It's on Nebraska, generally, right? The athletic department, the football staff, to figure it out. But you can't just say, well, Indiana did it, so why can't we? The challenges at Indiana are much different than the challenges at Nebraska. But there are some similar ones. How did Indiana solve the problems that are similar to Nebraska? Go find that out. What challenges are different from Indiana than you have here at Nebraska? Okay, there you got to find your own answer, right? You can't just study off the study guide for the test. You got to do your own research and figure out your own issues. This is not a big picture gripe with Matt Rule. It's just stating the fact. Curt Cignetti felt like Flash. He still might be. It's been a year and change. Maybe next year Indiana's a 6-6 team. But for right now, back-to-back years in the top 10. It felt like a flash last year. Seems like it's sustainable, but can Indiana keep this going for 5 years? Or is this their Dabo Swinney moment where they pop up, they have the 2 best years in program history, and then they're just fine from then on? We still don't know how it ends for Curt Cignetti, but I still believe Nebraska, tell me if I'm wrong, Husker fans, if I'm wrong. I still believe, generally speaking, the biggest source of frustration for Nebraska is that they haven't had that breakthrough, flash in a pan, lightning in a bottle moment or season in far too long. There's always been something capping Nebraska. It's never been Nebraska's turn, and you hate that it's someone else's turn, and I can't blame you for that. Trust me, I'm living it with you. I've been here my whole life. I've not been anywhere else. I get it. I'm just telling you the tack that I take when I see and I hear these conversations. We'll go to break. Plenty more from you on the Sartor Heyman Jewelers text line. A lot of you to get to. Drumstick, Old Dad 34, 5086, 0658, Breaker, and 0739, Eric and Lincoln as well. Lots to get to from you guys on our Sartor Heyman Jewelers text line as we continue Old School.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Sometimes good people make mistakes. When you find yourself in need of an attorney, call Liberty Law Group. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group will defend you in court and protect your freedom to get you the best possible outcome and the justice you deserve. Trust your freedom to Liberty Law Group, the best criminal attorneys in Nebraska and Iowa. Call them today at 877-404-5238. That's 877-404-5238. Or check them out online at libertylawgroup.com.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait. Apply now.
Mike, the insurance company wants us to replace the roof.
Wait, what? I thought everything was fine.
Yeah, it says right here our roof is too old and they won't be able to cover us anymore.
I guess it is 15 years old. Hi, I'm Austin with Roofing Service Company. We help homeowners with their roofing and siding projects. Financing options are available, and we can get you under a new roof no time at all. If this sounds like you, visit roofingservicecompany.com. That is roofingservicecompany.com.
This is your year, where your team takes it all the way. Win way more than bragging rights at Warhorse Casino, where your love of the game could put $1 million in your pocket. The Pro Football Frenzy is free to play with prizes all season long. Weekly cash prizes up to $1,000 cash, season-long leaderboards, and a chance to win $1 million. Only at Warhorse Casino. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
Are you ready to transform your body and your life in just 10 weeks? At Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping, our kickboxing challenge combines heart-pumping cardio, strength training, and proven nutrition coaching to deliver real results. Lose fat, gain strength, and feel more confident than ever. Spots are limited. Don't wait. Join the next Farrell's 10-week challenge starting October 11th and take the first swing towards a healthier, stronger you. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping, results, not excuses. Join today, fxblincoln.com. That's fxblincoln.com.
Your business runs like a well-oiled machine. It's important that your actual machines do, too. Stern is here to make sure you don't have to worry about that. They provide solutions for heavy equipment and automotive fuels, lubricants, and equipment guard options. And with Stern's commitment to customer service for the past 40 years, you know you have a partner to help support your operations for years to come. Contact Roger at Stern Company by calling 1-800-477-2744 or visit them online at stern.co. Stern Company, where problems meet solvers.
Concrete Industries has immediate job openings for precast production laborers and maintenance technicians. Concrete Industries offers great pay, health benefits, 401k, a wellness program, holidays, and paid time off. Apply today to earn a starting pay of $21.50 per hour plus a $1,500 hiring bonus. Concrete Industries is hiring all experience levels and offers on-the-job training. Start your career today as a precast production laborer or maintenance technician. Visit concreteindustries.com.
I can't believe I just scratched that card. Find my insurance card.
Dude, what do you have in this glove box? Ew, are these socks dirty?
Oh, forget about the socks. I need my insurance card.
Just pull it up on the State Farm mobile app.
But I can do that? Oh, hey, I can do that.
Yep, it's called service.
I can file a claim on here too?
Yeah, it's called service.
Whoa, I can call my agent too?
It's called service.
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinny Krikak, today at 402-474-1173.
This is Rick Heyman with Sartor Heyman Jewelers. Sartor Heyman is celebrating 120 years, and you could win big. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram for your chance to win a $120 gift certificate every week. That's right, we're giving away $120 every week as a thank you for being part of our story. Don't miss your chance to treat yourself. Follow Sartor Heyman Jewelers today. Celebrating 120 years. Sartor Heyman, when only the best will do.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is Old School, and y'all are killing it. Lots to talk about from our Sartor Heyman Jewelers text line and our Honda of Lincoln hotline. Mike will get to you here in just a sec. But our friends at the Lincoln Children's Museum want to let you know that they can help you out on game days. If you're planning a trip to Memorial Stadium for a Husker game and don't know what to do with your young kiddo, think about the Lincoln Children's Museum and their offer of game day playdates. For children ages 5 to 12, you can drop them off at the Lincoln Children's Museum 90 minutes before kickoff and pick them up 60 minutes after the game ends, knowing they will be well cared for at the Lincoln Children's Museum, offered all sorts of activities, science, technology, engineering. I think it's, art in the STEAM and mathematics, all related to football. It gets them up, it gets them moving, it gets their brains engaged. All you have to do is register online, LincolnChildren'sMuseum.org. All sorts of fun stuff going on down there, just steps from the stadium. No hassle for you. Drop your kids off 90 minutes before, pick them up 60 minutes after the Husker game. And, if you're in town for the weekend, right, or the whole week, you come in on Friday, you're looking for something to do before Saturday's game. The Children's Museum opens 6 days a week. They have 3 floors of hands-on exhibits and creative play. Perfect for you out-of-town families looking for something to do with your young kid in town before the Husker game. All right, let's get to our Honda of Lincoln hotline. We got Mike on the line. Mike, a good Wednesday to you. What's on your mind?
Hey, thanks for having me on. I think you're right about the, wanting a quick win, but for people like me, I can remember all 5 national championships quite vividly. What I think the problem is it's just, Matt Rule's paying for, 20 years of sins at Nebraska football. After Frank Solich got fired and all that went into that, and I don't want to relitigate it, but we always bought the company line, so we bring in Bill Callahan, and there was some trepidation there, but boy, we were sold the line that we're going to get a modern college offense, and everyone was, oh boy, that's great, because we just don't have a modern college offense. And I remember the first play of the first spring game, he puts about 5 guys in motion, and the crowd erupts. Well, we saw how that worked out. Then they bring in Bo Pelini, and we get the, same stuff, and, we buy into that. That didn't, won't go into that. And then you get Mike Riley, and he's a 500 coach, but they tell us, and I hated this line, but he didn't have all the toys he's going to have at Nebraska. Well, that didn't work out. And then Scott Frost, and I wasn't for Frost, just due to the fact that 2 years I didn't think prepared him to go into a league that probably has the best coaches in college football. And, his assistant coach's resume spoke more to Division II football coaching than it did, coaching in this league, the best coaching in college football. And so we keep buying into all these lines, and so you kind of wonder, well, yeah, Matt Rule turned a couple programs around, but his record in against teams with a winning record isn't exactly stellar. And at this point, you just don't know what to even believe. And I still believe in Matt Rule, but, man, this is just getting old. And the company line never seems to come out quite what they tell us, and people are just getting frustrated. I think it's just an accumulation of all this thing not being what we're told. Just my opinion. Thanks.
Mike, I appreciate it. Mike joined us there on our Honda of Lincoln hotline. Really appreciate the call. No, I think all of that's fair. This is what I've been saying for a few weeks now, though. If your complaint is the company line and you feel like you're being lied to by Nebraska, you feel like you're being let down, I think a couple things are important to keep in mind. Number one, we never get all the details of a search process. We don't know exactly what leads into the decision to hire this coach or to not hire that coach. We'll never know what the decision makers were thinking exactly, what the exact draws were. You have to remember that everything that comes out of that athletic department is mostly true. Mostly. But you also have to remember they have agendas, they have opinions, and that gets mixed in. And Matt Rule is a fantastic communicator. Not everything Matt Rule says is 100% true. There's spin to it. There's always spin. If you're going to hire a coach, you're not going to say, we hire him, we hope this works. You're going to say, yeah, we believe that X, Y, and Z are going to contribute to this head coach being the right person for this job right now. Okay, that's just the fact. So you have to take everything that you hear from Nebraska with a grain of salt. I'm not saying they're liars, but I'm not telling you they're 100% truthful. Like I've said for the last couple weeks, is my strategy, right, when I think about projecting Nebraska's stats or projecting Nebraska's record, is I'll tell you with my gut reaction and what my head thinks that, okay, yep, this looks like a 9-3 schedule. Cool. Nebraska's going to go 9-3. But when I come on air with you guys, I think through it, it's, you know what? Do I really think 9-3 or am I hoping for 9-3? 9-3 seems like an outcome that is, maybe a little bit high. A lot has to go right. Well, this is Nebraska recently. Not as much has gone right as they need to win 9 games. So you know what? Even if I think 9-3 ought to be on the table and be achievable, I think 8-4 is more likely, more realistic. I don't know where they'll drop another game. I don't know what exactly is going to happen. I can't tell the future, but I think generally that knocking just a little bit of that upper level expectation off of everything you hear has gotten me to a pretty good headspace with most of these programs. And that's not lowering the standard, I don't think. It's setting my expectations in a reasonable spot. That's how I view it. We're Nebraskans. We're Nebraska fans. I assume you are if you're listening to this radio station. Trust me, the better Nebraska is, the better it is for business. The easier my job becomes. Not rooting against the Huskers. But I've been in prove it mode. Show me mode, right? It's great that you say that about your team, about this player or that player. It's great that you promised Emmett Johnson the starting role, right? That's kind of my hobby horse right now. We'll get on that, right? Was he worthy of that promise? Maybe you like him. Either he's worthy of it and he's not living up to it, or he wasn't worthy of it and you made promises you shouldn't have made. Either way, it's not working out. And those are two wildly, wildly different conversations, right? And again, this is not all on Emmett Johnson, just a point, just an example. You add all that on top of the years of frustration that Husker fans have done. If you're tired of hearing the company line, then stop listening to the company line and taking it as fact. Plain and simple. Hear what they say and use some critical thinking. Look at the roster yourself. Look at the stats. Look at the history. Look at the trends. Look at other teams. And yes, on the one hand, that's easy for me to say. This is my job. It's what I do for a living. It's not what the rest of you do for a living. You have office jobs. You have jobs out in the fields. You're working hard, providing wonderful, goods and services for the rest of us. And for that, I thank you. And maybe diving that deep isn't what you want to do or isn't what you have time to do. And I get it. So then don't. But if your rationale for being frustrated with Nebraska athletics and the direction of the program is, well, they said this was going to happen and it didn't happen. He said this was the guy for it and he turned out not to be the guy. Number one, they're human. Two, they're wrong. Number two, they're always communicating in a way to put the positive spin on something or the best construction on something out of self-preservation, out of selling the program to recruits. Okay, that's just a part of the business, just a part of the communication style, and you got to find a way to parse through it. Sometimes they'll be right. Sometimes they'll be wrong. Usually they're partially right and partially wrong. Anyone at any university. This isn't just a Nebraska thing. It feels like a Nebraska thing because we're in the middle of it right now. But if you're upset about getting fed the company line, I'm telling you, just take a step back, knock 10% off your optimism meter, and go from there. All right, back to our text line. Eric, not everything Austin says is 100% true. No, false, actually. I don't know if I've ever told a lie on this radio program. Maybe not a lie. I might have been incorrect before, but we'll go from there. Let's see. Scrolling back down, Eric and Lincoln, can we all agree that Nebraska fans are thankful we aren't Wisconsin? Woo. Here's the thing. A lot of eerie similarities between Wisconsin and Nebraska, so while it's fun to laugh at another program's downfall, I would be very hesitant to do that. You beat Wisconsin twice in the Big Ten era. They're making a lot of the same mistakes that Nebraska has made. I am not asking you to feel sorry for them. I would never do that, right? They're supposed to be a rival. They're another conference team. I would never ask you to feel sorry for Wisconsin's downfall. But I wouldn't necessarily tell you to laugh at it either. Nebraska's been in that same spot. Just like Nebraska's been in the same spot that Illinois was against Indiana. Got a couple of those texts. Yeah, Nebraska's loss stung to Michigan, but could have been worse. Could have been Illinois. I mean, what a bad day they had. Yeah, Nebraska's had that day. Nebraska's had that day more times than any of us care to count. So, yeah, it's great that Wisconsin's backsliding. You know, it's fun to watch from a distance, but how quick we forget that Nebraska's trying to crawl out of a very similar pit. OG Breaker. Oh no, it's only 4 games in and we're already talking about firing coaches. Maybe the fans are, but I've been very clear, not calling for jobs. Just calling for reevaluation, saying, hey, is this working? Are you the guy to fix it? Prove to me you're the guy to fix it. 0658. Nebraska's O-line has been less than mediocre in the Big Ten under Donovan Raiola. I feel he's a huge reason he's been retained was to have a chance at Dillon. Obviously. It doesn't hurt having Uncle around. Not in the slightest. But again, Donovan Raiola is not the scapegoat for the entirety of the Michigan game. You know, Terry Braden isn't the scapegoat for Nebraska's loss to Michigan. They're responsible, but they're not individually uniquely culpable by any stretch of the imagination. Nebraska's line across the board has gotten better under Donovan Raiola. It's not elite. It's middle of the pack in the Big Ten. Guess what? Nebraska is a middle of the pack Big Ten team right now. Can Nebraska do better than Donovan Raiola? Maybe. I don't know. Could Nebraska do worse than Donovan Raiola? Almost assuredly. And I'm sure Husker fans, you have seen that and will be able to tell me what worse looks like. 5086. Austin, you're spot on. We legit just broke the no bowl streak. Let's get to a bowl every year and keep the program growing. Again, just so I am understood, what I am saying is the program needs to take steps. It's head down. It's keep working. Like Jay Foreman says, you're always chasing the ghost. Nebraska might find a way to get back to the glory days of the 90s. And maybe we get, 1994 and 1995 and 1997 again in the future. It's on the table. It's in the realm of possibility. But I'm saying it's A, unfortunate that Nebraska hasn't been able to do what Indiana has. B, it's unfortunate for pick your reason. I don't know the rationale why Nebraska hasn't had the season that Indiana has. That's not up to me to answer. I've given you my opinion all show long. But just because I say I want to see at least 8-4 or at least 7-5 for 5 straight years, that'll just make me feel better in the big picture. That doesn't mean each individual loss doesn't sting. It doesn't mean that there aren't things to discuss about the players and the personnel in the micro sense. But we have to be clear about what discussion we're having. In no way am I saying the end goal for Nebraska is be happy at 8-4 and have your miracle 10-2 year a la Minnesota, with Tanner Morgan and the 3 receivers when they beat Penn State and whatnot, right? I agree. That should not be Nebraska's ceiling. That shouldn't be where Nebraska is aiming ultimately. But you can't tell me that's not a step on the journey. You can't tell me that having that season wouldn't be a step in the right direction. But I would rather see Nebraska go from 5-7 to 6-6 with a bowl win to 8-4 in a bowl game to 8-4 in a bowl game to 9-3 to 10-2 to 8-4 to 9-3, rather than, this year all of a sudden Nebraska pop up to 11-1. Schedule hits next year, they're 5-7, and then they're 6-6, 5-7, and then you're having some real long-term questions. That's all I'm saying, is that right now in the middle of a season that felt like it could have been special for Nebraska, and it still can be, in a lot of ways, everything is still on the table for this team. You can look at it in the micro, and that's a lot of what we do here on this station. And you have to be able to look at the trees and say, hey, this position isn't good enough. Hey, this coach isn't good enough. Hey, this group isn't living up to its potential that we think it has. But then sometimes you got to be able to take that step back and see the entire forest of, hey, there are a lot more trees planted in the Nebraska forest now than there were 3 years ago. It is a healthier team. It is a healthier program in a bunch of ways. And that can't go unrecognized. Nebraska's not there. Nebraska hasn't arrived. I get it. Maybe they had a flat tire or two along the way. But at least the road trip is rolling on. Nebraska didn't screech to a halt with a loss to Michigan. The Husker RV is still rolling down the road. Sure, maybe it's not the Husker sports car like the Hoosier sports car in Bloomington. I'm not saying you're wrong for wanting that. I'm telling you that's not what Nebraska hired, and that's not what Nebraska's expecting. They can always accomplish more. They can always be better, one step at a time. More of your thoughts right after this on Old School.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
At Fairway Meat Market, you're family, and as part of the family, they want to save you money on your meat and groceries. Now through September 28th, enjoy an 8-ounce USDA Choice New York strip for $7.98 each. All natural whole pork butt, $1.78 per pound. Boar's Head Deli Turkey, all varieties, $11.99 per pound. And Bush Light 30 racks for $18.99. That's all at Fairway Meat Market in the Rockledge Square Shopping Center, just south of 84th and Van Dorn.
Feeling off lately? Struggling with your mental well-being can make everyday life harder, and it can also increase the risk of substance use. Early support can make a big difference. Visit myhealthymind.crediblemmind.com and take the free mental health check-in assessment. In just a few minutes, you'll get non-judgmental feedback, local resources, and next steps to help you feel more in control and supported. This message is funded in part by the CDC OD2A grant.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just their professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, their passion for happier, healthier, furry friends.
This is your invite to Lincoln's Oktoberfest. On Saturday, September 27th, come to Beer House at 8th and P in the Haymarket from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. for a full day of German fun. Live bands, mouth-watering food, cold brews, and games for every age. Try your hand at Steinholding, Cornhole, or bring friends for Hammerschlagen. Admission is just $9 in advance, and VIP gives you tokens, a Stein, rooftop access, and more. Lincoln's Oktoberfest, where the beer is flowing, the food is sizzling, and the spirit is Bavarian strong. Be there.
Ready to score big with your projects? Look no further than Edward Stone, the MVP of natural stone for over 2 decades. Edward Stone is cranking out over 30,000 square feet every week and offers a winning lineup of over 70 quality natural veneer stone selections. Their unbeatable variety and experienced team will ensure your project is a success, whether it's a home renovation or a commercial build. And hey, they're not just about stone. They've got an all-star lineup of fireplaces, cast stone, brick, and much more. Swing by one of their locations in Lincoln or Omaha today and experience the Edward Stone difference, your reliable choice for over 20 years.
It's time for Bonsall Pool and Spa's Truckload event. From September 23rd through the 27th, stop by Bonsall Pool and Spa at 3201 Pioneers Boulevard to see an actual truck full of hot tubs with special prices. You'll save up to $3,000 on all hot tubs and swim spas, as well as $1,500 on all saunas and cold plunges. Use Nebraska football's bye week well by stopping in on September 27th for refreshments and giveaways. That's Bonsall Pool and Spa at 3201 Pioneers Boulevard in Lincoln.
Mike, the insurance company wants us to replace the roof.
Wait, what? I thought everything was fine.
Yeah, it says right here our roof is too old and they won't be able to cover us anymore.
I guess it is 15 years old. Hi, I'm Austin with Roofing Service Company. We help homeowners with their roofing and siding projects. Financing options are available, and we can get you under a new roof no time at all. If this sounds like you, visit roofingservicecompany.com. That is roofingservicecompany.com.
Big news, Nebraska. Love Omaha is now Love Nebraska. This is more than just a new name. It's a tribute to what Nebraska represents in the world of volleyball. It's still the same team with the same mission, led by players you know and love. Now backed by a new ownership group led by Jordan Larson. As Love Nebraska, they're entering an exciting new chapter, pushing for a championship title in 2026 and building new opportunities for the next generation of players across the state. They want you with them. Let's show the world how Nebraska plays volleyball. Join the movement at lovneb.com and sign up to become a Love Nebraska insider today.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Oh, the existential questions we discuss on a bye week. You guys have been great. Had a fun time hanging out with you, chatting with you over the course of the last 3 hours. Austin Norman with you. Big thanks to Nick Sainert for being around for the first 90 minutes of the show. Evan Bland wrapping up hour 2 of Old School. And then it's been you and me, Starter Heyman Jewelers text line, Honda of Lincoln Hotline, hanging out here for the last little bit of Old School. A few more texts to get to here. And if I don't get to it on air, I'll do my best to reply once I get off the air. Drumstick, Nebraska needs longevity in the program again. Revolving door program has been the identity for a decade. Welcome, my friend, to college sports. You either got to find your guy, stick with him through the ups and the downs and the turbulence, or you got to find a way to handle the revolving door better. Plain and simple. You know, college football's not done changing. It's not. This isn't the final form. It's going to change again. So either handle the change better or find a way that you can resist the change and swim against the current. It'll be tough to do. Not impossible, but you know, I think the days of coaches that are at their schools for 20 years are about done. I think that's going to definitely be the exception more so than the rule. I think especially at the Power 4 level. Sandman 460, bring Bill Callahan back for the offensive line. LOL, kidding. I get myself in trouble again. Bill Callahan was bad for what he was. Bill Callahan was not the worst coach of the 21st century for Nebraska. Okay? You know, clearly not good enough. Won a division championship. Won a bowl game. You know, out of 4 years, how many times would Nebraska have killed for a bowl win in a division championship over a 4-year stretch? So, Dirty Tony and the boys. In the NIL era, we need performance-based contracts. Ridiculous what I saw on Saturday, knowing they're making more than many hardworking Nebraskans. Dirty Tony and the boys, I get it. Please don't pocket watch. It's tough. Better return on investment would go a long way for Nebraska. And there are certainly business considerations in this day and age of college athletics. But don't begrudge these young men the money. Please. In a lot of ways, yeah, a lot of guys have to be better. But they've been told that they can play for that much money. And so be it. That's the life they chose, life they were given. I'm not going to fault them for it. Expect more, hope they play better, but just don't pocket watch, please. That's not a healthy place to live. And then Professor Rick, who says, valid points before the season started. I predicted 7-5, hope for 8-4, would have been thrilled with 9-3. And Nebraska fans have to be careful not to move the goalposts. That part. You know, when you think about the moving the goalposts element of this, and this is how we'll wrap up the show. Both Curt Cignetti and Matt Rule, right, just to keep playing off that comparison, have their eyes set on the end zone. You know, maybe for Curt Cignetti, he was able to get that explosive run, or maybe he threw the 60-yard bomb down the field, got everyone's attention, got the crowd loud, kept them excited. You know, I'm sure Matt Rule would have loved to be able to do that. I don't know if that's Matt Rule's personality. Doesn't seem like it. Maybe it is Matt Rule's personality and it just didn't happen. Maybe he thought it was going to happen and it didn't. I tend to believe that's not the case. I think Matt Rule talked a lot about sustainability and longevity when he first got to Nebraska and continues to do so today. So what's Nebraska doing? As a program, it's the 4 yards in a cloud of dust approach. Now, they're doing a little gussied up with the passing game instead of the running game. Maybe that's part of what's rankling Nebraska fans. But they got the 5-star quarterback. 30-ish years since that happened for Nebraska. Is Dylan Raiola a step in the wrong direction for the program? I have a hard time believing that. Getting Dylan Raiola to campus, keeping him here for a couple of years, getting the season you are out of him so far, yeah, that's a win for the program. That's good. Step in the right direction. But on the goalpost point, it's not moving the goalposts when you say that different programs will get there different ways. Right now, Nebraska's more on the Illinois track than the Indiana track. Illinois wasn't good right away when Brett Bielema got there. They got better. They gained some respect. They got bigger, faster, stronger, more physical, all that good stuff. But Illinois still hasn't broken through. And Bielema's been there longer than the Matt Rule's been at Nebraska. Different programs do things different ways. Different coaches do things different ways. And I get it, Nebraska fans. It's your turn again. But it's not your birthright. This program's got to earn it. I'm not saying the fan base hasn't earned it. Continues to show up, continues to support. It's widely respected, widely known that this fan base probably deserves better than it's gotten. But clearly the program's not ready yet. In whatever way, whether it's talent, whether it's infrastructure, whether it's coaching, whether it's administration, I don't know. But there's an element or two still holding this program back. It's got some stuff to figure out. It's not in a perfect place. And I know some people have said, well, you know what good football looks like. You never lived it, so you can keep your opinion to yourself. And I get it. No, I haven't lived through the 90s. I was born in 1998. I missed all 3 championships in the 90s and obviously the 2 in the 70s. I'm just trying to tell you that as much as you want it to be Indiana, clearly that's not the route Nebraska's heading. Clearly that's not where Nebraska's at. It's too late for Nebraska to make the splash that Indiana did. So stop wanting it. Stop wishing for it. It's not going to happen in that way. Nebraska can get there. Absolutely can get there. It's on the table for the Huskers. This program has got to grow. This program has got to learn. And sure, you can hope for some expedited growth. But over the past 2 years and change, this program is showing you what it's capable of. That's all they ever do. Whatever they accomplish is what they're capable of. We can hope for more. We can want more for them. But it's up to that program, up to those coaches, up to those players to prove that they're capable of it by going out and doing the dang thing. Thank you all for your engagement all show long. It's been a blast here on Old School. Another show 3 to 6 tomorrow. Don't go anywhere. Ticket Weeknights comes your way momentarily. Load up on meat and more this spring at The Mercado by Certified Piedmontese with great selections of T-bones, tomahawks, ribeyes, filet mignon, brisket, sirloin, and so much more. The Mercado has locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, where you can have $2 draft beer every Thursday night from 4 to 8 p.m. and half-price espresso drinks on Fridays from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.